Where's the FBI?
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, March 26, 2015. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 707.
This is No Agenda.
Proving the shoemaker's kids had no shoes. Broadcasting live from the Crackpot condo in downtown Austin, Tejas, in FEMA Region 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, home of Bergdahl, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
John, I got to tell you. I have to tell you. For 8 years now, we have spotted trends. We have successfully deconstructed mergers, acquisitions, government influence, and yet we have never been able to capitalize.
And corruption.
Yes. We have. If I was a stockbroker, I would listen to the No Agenda show to pick up stock tips. Because we really do identify these trends well in advance.
Yeah.
The problem is we never, ever do it. We never act on it ourselves.
No, it would jinx it.
Heinz, the food company controlled by Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway and private equity firm 3G Capital, buying Kraft, creating a food giant in the process. Are there more deals to come from Berkshire Hathaway and 3G? In addition to Heinz, Berkshire helped 3G finance the Burger King acquisition of Tim Hortons last year. We all know that Warren Buffett loves food. Coke is one of his favorite companies. There's been speculation that maybe one day Berkshire and 3G could team up to buy Coke. Buffett, as we know from a Fortune interview, he loves to eat like a 6-year-old. Coke, Dairy Queen. Now you can add mac and cheese to the list.
Yeah. All right.
Mac and cheese.
We have been, in fact, it was your, you started it all about mac and cheese being the depression food. One of the most astute investors in the universe, Warren Buffett, heard the call. He knew that mac and cheese was the future. And the price, the price spike of the stock price.
Yeah.
You ready?
Okay.
Yeah, 33%.
That's a good one. Wow.
Upon news of the merger. Please.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. Macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese.
The Mac and Cheese Life. Mac and Cheese by Ayn Rand.
Maybe we can ask Andrew Horowitz to just maintain a blind portfolio. And all he has to do is just listen to the show. And you know, whenever we say something like, mac and cheese is the future.
Cheese.
It's
disgusting.
True. It's true, though.
Yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, true. Well, yeah, we should also mention that since I mentioned Bergdahl, Bo Bergdahl, we're I believe, the first people that recognized that he was a deserter, because before the story even broke, just as it was breaking, we had our
producers, everywhere. Exactly.
That were in the camp and told us the whole story.
Yeah.
And then it further evolved after after he was praised by Susan Rice for being a great patriot or whatever she said, some crap. But this is proving that she shouldn't be even working for the government.
Do you know who used to work for her? Which I only found out due to some investigative work.
Okay,
Ted Cruz's wife.
Wow,
she's a regional manager for Goldman Sachs, but she also worked at she definitely worked directly for Susan Rice.
In what capacity?
Well, I wrote it down.
This is a
incestuous.
Incestuous is the I can't.
Yeah,
I could.
Well, the thing that I found,
another hour's sleep, I would have got the word. But is this an incestuous mess?
Did you not sleep well?
No, I slept fine. But apparently I didn't, or I'd be quicker on the draw when it came to the show.
So I find right. Well, let's just stick with this for a second, because I found this very interesting to see how how television. Let's just call it television. We can't even call it news or mainstream. Just television. That's easier. How television television.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, how television responded to Senator Ted Cruz announcing he's running for president.
Which is big news to you down there in Texas.
Yeah, But the thing that I like where it was discussed the most was on The View, which I do not watch with any regularity.
You apparently did.
However, it is, I think, a fact that this a lot of people watch this program and will form their opinions and derive their news information from these, let me see, retarded morons, I think. I just want to put two together for these people. In particular, Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, God.
So, of course, the idea is to discredit Ted Cruz as, crazy Tea Party guy, birther, nut job, believes that the Earth is only 2,000 years old. Whatever they can pull up is done. And then I personally find this offensive, not because of Ted Cruz, because I find him incredibly creepy. We've discussed this. He's not dumb by any means. Very, very successful lawyer, prosecutor, senator. And the connection with his wife and the banking industry.
Yeah, he's no slouch.
No slouch. I agree. He's icky. That's the word. Icky.
Yeah, his face isn't put together properly.
But I find it offensive if somebody says, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to run." That you're ridiculed, right? I mean, the first thing someone should say is, "Hey, man, thank you for considering to contribute." It's a shitty job, but okay. Here's The View, and they got it so wrong on so many things that I figured we'd just have a little listen to this, because this will, no doubt, this will pop up in discussions around the water cooler, at work, and in Texas, too, especially in Austin. This is the line that The View is taking. And they have one Republican girl on this show.
Yeah, they always have the one gratuitous Republican.
Yeah. Blonde, all-American girl.
Ditzy.
She's not ditzy, but all-American.
No, but she's blonde, so thus, a
Republican.
He was not born in America.
Okay, so this is very funny. He was not born in America, Ted Cruz. Now listen to, and I'll tell you exactly what the...
Now they're all preoccupied with this.
Yeah, but it's so simple to, 5 minutes, and you know exactly what his eligibility is, which is eligible. But let's just listen to these ladies.
He was born in Canada.
Yeah.
So how did he run?
They said Canadian?
Yeah, he's a Canadian, they say, which he's not, but okay.
Canadian. I think she said she was born in Canada.
Oh, maybe she did. Let me hear that again.
He was not born in America. He was born in Canada.
Yeah.
So how did he run? She didn't. How could he run for president? I actually don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm going to tell you what happened here. Some producer said, it's really cool. He was born in Canada, so you can talk about this on the show. And then Rosie Perez is a guest, and she well, anyway. But it's without any research, without any background. They're just doing this.
Sorry, it's going to be the least of his problems.
Least of his problems? None of us have anything to do with it. I'm looking forward to this, Ted.
By the way, when you girls do that, it sucks balls. No one knows what you're talking about. Stop that.
Ted Cruz has a lot of support in the Republican Party. There are people in the Republican Party who feel like Republicans like me have not been tough enough, and he speaks to them.
For you to say... I'm a Ted Cruz birther.
Yes.
I want to see the birther.
For you to say, as a Republican, that him not being born in this country is the least of his problem is insane. Insane. I love you, darling, but...
Darling, I love you, darling. And this is where she turns into a dick. I love you, darling. I'm from Brooklyn.
Birthers and all of that stuff, they made it a huge issue.
I don't know where he was born, and I never asked where... I mean, listen, I think
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Well, this came up. It has come up before for this very reason.
Here's Whoopi, who was reading the notes that the producer gave her.
Producers must be doing this as a goof. Can you imagine producing this show with these dimwits?
Well, I think they probably do the right thing. Just give them this and let them run with it. Who gives a crap? They can't stick to anything anyway.
True.
Just a moment here on the United States Constitution, Article 2, Section 1. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States. That's two different things. A citizen of the United States or a natural-born citizen, at the time of the adoption of this Constitution, shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained at least the age of 35 years and be 14 years a resident within the United States. So let me clear it up very quickly. A natural-born citizen means you are born to there's a number of different classifications. You can have both American parents in wedlock, both American parents not in wedlock, one parent in wedlock, one parent not in wedlock. Either way, Ted Cruz was born to an American mother who was living in Canada for their job.
Right.
And he became naturalized, which is you have every right to do. 2005, which completed the 14-year requirement. But being born to it'd be crazy if you have American parents and they're living in China and you're born there that you're not American or even one of the two parents. So it's completely stupid. But they're running with it.
Reason, because, he's one of the people who said, and he should have president. Well, hon.
What did you just say, Whoopi?
What did she say?
What she's trying to do, she's trying to say Ted Cruz was a birther, which he, to my knowledge, wasn't.
I don't believe he was.
But she's trying to say, like, the president. Listen to it. It's really good. This is class act, top-notch television.
Reason, because, he's one of the people who said, and he should have president. Well, hon.
And now she's going to do something really outrageous.
Whoopi wants to see your birth certificate.
I do. I want to see your birth certificate.
Woo! Listen to that, John. The future of the country is hooting and hollering.
I know the audience is.
You're a mixed gentleman. Oops. Here comes racism.
You are mixed. I want to know, are you talking for the Cuban side or the white side? What are you talking for? See, now, when we turn it around, it's not very nice.
This is incredible what she just got away with. She's saying that Ted Cruz is a racist, and then she's being racist on him. What side you talking for, the white side or the Cuban side? Wisco, Tango, Foxtrot, this is no good.
Yeah, I heard this particular part.
Oh. Let me just finish
Disgusting.
Up. 20 seconds.
It's not very nice. So, luckily, we have better stuff to concentrate on than where you were born, Ted. But do know that we are aware of some of the things you said, and maybe being Cuban is part of it. I'll give her that. But some of this is ignorance.
Yeah, your ignorance, you douche.
What did he say specifically?
Nothing.
That shows ignorance.
No, nothing. It's just you say Ted Cruz and people. This is the division that has been carefully created over the past, I don't know, let's just call it 2 decades. Very carefully created. So we have red and blue, black and white, a Republican, Democrat. It's saddening.
Well, that's why the party system stinks.
Yes. Also on television, I love watching Richard Quest. I just can't get that image out of my mind.
I saw Quest because I saw when the plane first. We're going to talk about the plane.
Yeah, of course.
I saw the early reports into CNN, which I recorded a bunch. I didn't clip any. But Richard Quest was there, and he acts a lot different than he did when he was wide and crazy. He's screaming all the time like a maniac. And how did he become their aviation expert?
Oh, I know exactly how. Because he was doing a business show, which is more for CNN International. And people who are new to the program, if you do a little search on Richard Quest CNN, the reason why we're chuckling is because it was a few years ago. He was arrested in, was it Washington Square Park, I think, in New York?
I don't remember.
In the middle of the night, and he only had a trench coat on and boots. And he had was it a belt tied around from his genitals around his neck, and he had meth on him, and then the cops arrested him. He was like, I got meth on me, and I got a dildo in my boot. And he's like, oh, okay, fine. So this is the expert. It was a rope, not a belt. Sorry, a rope. So I'm all for kinky sex, but it's just hard. I just want to see the guy.
Kinky sex.
Who knows what he was doing? It's not even fun. What's a rope around their neck tied to their balls? I mean, come on. So he was doing a business show where he was traveling all the time, and he would profile airlines. I met him when they opened the new upper class, back when I flew it, upper class lounge for Virgin Atlantic, and Richard Branson was there, and he was doing a piece and flying. I think it was the first flight to somewhere, I don't know, a direct flight to some Asian country. And so he has contacts with all of the airlines, certainly with the PR department. So, therefore he is now an expert. He has no license. He has no flight experience, but he's an expert. And sometimes, he makes sense, but it's just the pompousness of him.
This is like in the late 70s and early 80s when they needed to find a computer expert in some companies, and they asked around, and whoever owned the Apple II,
you're in,
was the computer expert all of a sudden, running IT.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I do have a quick, 37-second backgrounder.
We're learning new details now about the deadly Germanwings plane crash in the French Alps. The New York Times is reporting that evidence from a cockpit voice recorder indicated one pilot left the cockpit before the plane's descent and was unable to get back in. According to the Times, the investigators said, quote, "The guy outside is knocking lightly on the door and there is no answer. And then he hits the door stronger and no answer. There is never an answer. You can hear he is trying to smash the door down." One senior military official is reported saying, "We don't know yet the reason why one of the guys went out, but what is sure is that at the very end of the flight, the other pilot is alone and does not open the door."
So there's a number of things that I take issue with the reporting. And then the top issue is there's no information whatsoever. Everyone's making the crap up, and it seems the New York Times jumped in pretty early.
Leading the way.
They are indeed leading the way with, I find, a news piece. Let's see, here it is. A Germanwings pilot was locked out of cockpit before. This is the piece from the Times. Journalistically bad. Really, really bad.
Well, before you go on with your analysis, which will conclude this discussion, I should get a few clips in because I won't have a conclusive anything. And my clips are all from the Rachel Maddow show.
Wow. She, of course, also is an expert in rope and genitals and meth and dildos, so she can certainly weigh in.
I don't know about the meth.
No.
Whatever the case. Of course, she blames Bush for this.
No. Wait a minute. Oh, wow. Oh, crap. Who needs my analysis when you're going to roll this out on me?
Let's play Rachel with the Bush memo, which is she plays this pretty straight, but you can hear her viewers thinking, Dad Bush, the guy wasn't thinking clearly.
For reference and for context here, this is the press release from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration that was released in January 2002, specifically January 11th, 2002, 4 months to the day after the attacks of 9/11. This was the press release in which the FAA announced mandatory new standards for reinforced cockpit doors in all commercial passenger aircraft authorized to fly in the United States with more than 20 seats on board. The FAA's new rule, announced 4 months after 9/11, required newly strengthened doors that, quote, resist intrusion by a person who attempts to enter using physical force. That new rule required cockpit doors to remain locked. It required an internal locking device so that it can only be unlocked from inside the cockpit.
Yeah, also not true. Just factually incorrect. But okay.
All right. Now we go with just a couple of hysterics here. She has to be a little hysterical once in a while. So let's play Rachel Supposes Hijacker. This is her theory.
No, she's got a hijack theory. Good.
It is conceivably possible, I suppose, that...
You know what I think happened with her? Well, maybe I'll play this only 12 seconds and I'll tell you.
It is conceivably possible, I suppose, that a hijacker could have entered the cockpit once one pilot had stepped out and then overpowered or killed the remaining pilot, and then that hijacker is who deliberately crashed the plane.
That is as likely as me being able to fix you of your lesbianism.
All right. Well, that's what I suppose she says.
I think
now she does her kind of a Nancy Grace imitation with some hysterics.
No.
If it is the pilot who wants to crash the plane, who has locked himself or herself inside that cockpit, or if it is a healthy pilot who is locked out when the co-pilot inside the cockpit has died or become incapacitated or who has gone nuts. Well, in that case, then this rule about the doubly reinforced doors that resist all physical force, well, then that rule could be a death warrant.
You know what she's missing, although she'll never say it? The guy was 28. Maybe he was on Chantix. He wanted to stop smoking.
You're up there.
Yeah, but that's not my theory or my conclusion or anything.
Get these out of the way.
Okay.
So let's go. I got one more. These other two, the questions and answers things to test for later.
Oh.
That's for you. That's just a new Ask Adam thing.
Oh, I'm going to be tested and graded on my knowledge?
Yeah, on your ability to listen clearly.
Okay.
Anyway, now this is finally, Rachel brought this guy, which after she went on and on and on, this guy brought in a new fact. Or he believes a protocol. It seems like an old pilot's been around forever. And I when he said this, it was funny to watch her kind of try to reformulate her crazy theories.
Another part of this that I'm puzzled about is that protocol for most airlines says that at no time is there only one pilot in the cockpit, that somebody else should be with them. It may very well be a flight attendant that comes in and sits there, so there are two people in the cockpit at all times to take care of emergencies like the ones that we're speculating about now. So I'm curious to know if there was another person there, and if we can hear that person's voice or their entry into the cockpit later on.
It was, in terms of that rule, or at least that protocol, in the event that a pilot had to leave to use the bathroom or do any other normal thing, and a flight attendant was then introduced into the pilot to sit with the second pilot who was still there, what would that pilot, that flight attendant, for example, be expected to be able to do? Presumably they'd be able to open that door, but also to ensure there were no shenanigans in the cockpit?
Shenanigans.
Well, they obviously would be capable of opening the door. What else goes on in there, I cannot tell you, and I think it's a great puzzle right now.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, when the flight attendants are on the flight deck, that's when the shenanigans start, ladies and gentlemen. That's when it all starts. You'll recall the MH370 crew had chicks up there taking selfies.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that I just find noteworthy is that very much like the Boston bombers, and where there's apparently damning evidence, or there was, but now it's kind of generally accepted there is no such video of the Tsarnaev brothers, in particular the younger one putting the backpack into the trash can moments before it exploded. Then even the governor said, oh yes, I haven't seen it, but I'm reliably informed. So now we have, based on one report from the New York Times, which of course is the paper of record, we have this report as they speak to, I think we just go through the words of this particular Times piece for a minute to really understand, because the Times is not stupid. They're not going to let themselves get busted on really shitty reporting. But here we have an investigator, no name, we don't know from what country, what agency, said evidence from a cockpit voice recorder indicated one pilot left the cockpit before the plane's descent and was unable to get back in. Then they have a senior French military official involved in the investigation. Again, no name. I mean, this already is no good. But okay, because it's not official. Described a, quote, very smooth, very cool conversation between the pilots during the early part of the flight from Barcelona, Spain to Dusseldorf, Germany. Then the audio indicated that one of the pilots left the cockpit and could not re-enter. Here's a quote. The guy outside is knocking lightly on the door and there is no answer. Now, right there, how does anyone know from a voice, an audio recording, that the person knocking was the captain? We don't really, that's just making that up. We have no proof other than someone knocking. There's no answer. Then he hits the door stronger. No answer. There's never an answer. And you can hear he's trying to smash the door down. Now, it's okay to suspect that it was the captain and the first officer was alone on the flight deck. But there's no proof of what is being said here.
You know, in this morning's New York Times, they've altered the story a little bit.
Ah, okay.
I'll just tell you what it is so you can work it in.
Yeah.
The lady, and I think it has something to do with the reporting that came in. About
the original reporting? Mm-hmm.
No, the reporting that came in from the outside, from the pilots, like this guy that we just listened to, about the protocol where if you're going to leave, you're going to put somebody else in there to sit around and do whatever they do, as you indicated.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Times had to deal with that, and so now the way the story goes. And this is this morning, the co-pilot who was suicidal or something because he was he pushed the pilot, he got the pilot, pushed him out and slammed the door shut before the other person could get in.
Yeah, which of course we didn't really hear, I guess.
No, we didn't hear anything.
So in this original report, we don't know the reason yet why one of the guys went out. This use of the word guys, said the official, who requested anonymity because the investigation was continuing. Okay, sorry. Wasn't there a point, John, where you had to have two sources on record for you to really publish a story?
Well, that's you can publish a story with no sources. I mean, technically,
you can do that. Yeah,
but the New York Times has a policy, and the policy is exactly what you say. You have to have this is gossip.
Yeah, there's no one on record at all.
You might as well just put it under blogs.
Well, or
the New York Times gossip blog,
or the multitude of what used to be kind of cool pilot forums. It was all infiltrated with dickheads. Everyone's got a dumb question or a dumb theory.
Well, I don't want to go off the track here because this is going to continue, but this is really getting on my nerves. Almost everywhere you look, I'm working on trying to get I've got this new machine I'm running, which is a beautiful machine. It's got DisplayPort out.
AS400?
DisplayPort coming out of this thing, and it's got a mini DisplayPort, regular DisplayPort, HDMI. It's got none of the other DVIs or any of the other old-fashioned crap. Now, the DisplayPort should drive 3 monitors. And so you have to buy special gear. You buy this little piece of gear and you put the two plugs into DVI plugs and you get the 2 monitors. But it gives you an extended desktop.
Oh, yes. You can move to a different. Yeah, I get it.
I don't want an extended desktop. I want 2 monitors. I don't want 2 monitors to have the same thing. I want the old-fashioned 2 monitors where when you have monitor 1 and monitor 2. So monitor 1 does most of the work. It keeps all the stuff there on that monitor. Monitor 2 can slide stuff over to it. It's like an extended desktop, but it's not an extended desktop. Mm-hmm. And there is a difference. Go online and try to find out how you can change this. It is impossible. You have idiots,
John,
blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Next line is, buy a Mac.
Yeah.
It just never ends.
Okay, I got it. I see what you're saying. Yes. It's a little more frustrating when you're when you're talking about a very specific industry that there's really only I think there's only 500,000 or 600,000 pilots worldwide. Oh, that's helicopter. I'm sorry. Worldwide, there's more fixed-wing pilots, but it's a small group, and probably the worst are the private pilots, PPLs, who have Cessna experience. I'm not saying that I have any experience on this type of aircraft, but I hung out a lot with maintenance and understand a lot of how the mechanic. I owned a helicopter company, so I understand the mechanics of how the business works. Really, this whole thing starts. It's a 24-year-old plane. They're all crap. No, stop. We've been through that a million times.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Every single item on an aircraft has a lifespan. It has to be replaced. Before that, it's documented. People are personally liable and responsible. Multiple people sign off. The only 2 reasons for an aircraft incident are human error and maintenance. There really is nothing else. So if you get struck down by lightning, human error, you didn't check your weather report. Okay, that's the level. It's only those 2. Can only be those 2. So the New York Times continues with an interesting sentence. The data from the voice recorder seems only to deepen the mystery surrounding the crash and provides no indication of the condition or activity of the pilot who remained in the cockpit. So now they're saying that you could technically say, yes, the recorded sound on the cockpit voice recorder is data, but the next sentence is the descent from 38,000 feet over about 10 minutes, which is just, they're just making numbers up how long the descent was. I think that's wrong, by the way, was alarming by whose standards, but still gradual enough to indicate the twin-engine Airbus A320 had not been damaged catastrophically. But this is just, like a rumor. We have no idea. There's no data. Now, the thing that bugs me tremendously is, and I believe that they didn't even find the flight data recorder yet, but very quickly, we found the flight data recorder, and the memory card is missing. Okay. In the show notes, you will find technical specifications for the A320 and its flight data recorder. And I just want to tell you that there is no memory chip. It's not like where you put in your smartphone or your camera, because that's the visual that was given. I really don't like that in my reporting. So the memory board, which contains multiple stacked chips with backup, is surrounded by, in order from outside in, steel armor, insulation, thermal block, and then we get to the memory board. And if you look at what these things can handle, I have it here, 7,200 G-forces. And I tried to calculate, and I'm sure we have producers in the, maybe in the chat room, but certainly in the audience, who could help me calculate if you are flying around 350 knots and you come to a complete standstill, because the G-forces are calculated by feet per second and all this stuff, and the weight, that would be very important, or because typically the flight data recorder doesn't get crushed by anything from the aircraft. It kind of springs free. I think it was well under the 7,200 G-forces, I believe, it would seem. But now, so apparently this thing popped open, the steel armor insulation thermal block popped open, and the memory chip, poop, just popped out. I'm calling big bullshit on that.
I guess they're all on their hands and knees looking for it.
Mm-hmm. Because that, of course,
was reported as such in the New York Times. Where'd you get that?
Yes, here. Well, I think it's in the New York Times. Let me see. Here it is. French Bureau of Investigations. Our teams continue. That is not in. Oh, here at the crash site, a senior official working on the investigation said workers found the casing of the plane's other so-called black box, the flight data recorder, but the memory card containing data on the plane's altitude, speed, location, condition was not inside, apparently having been thrown loose or destroyed by the impact, or disappeared. But I'm not buying that there's just an open flight data recorder. Oh, and the memory cards popped out. It's not how it works. This is not how the thing is constructed. So the New York Times is full of crap, regardless of what really happened. So we have no real data. We have one person who told the New York Times, and even the French or the German prosecutors who were doing these. Was the French prosecutor who were doing these press conferences? They're even saying, "Well, I haven't heard the cockpit voice recorder myself. This doesn't ring true at all for them to come out so quickly. Yeah, that was damaged. We were still able to get some sound off of it, but there was no time code. Come on. This is unacceptable. That this is not being brought into question. So I don't think that. Well, here's the possibilities. First of all, this whole lockout of the door is a big red herring, and I love everyone looking at switches. And you absolutely can get back in. Yes, if someone on the flight deck does not want you to come in, obviously they can thwart that. But it doesn't really vibe with and jibe with all that we're hearing of this guy just sitting there, and they could hear him breathing apparently as we're now going we're descending at 4,000 feet per minute. But you can hear the guy breathing. Very nice. So there's only a couple of things. I believe that coming out right now saying this was a suicide is a lie. It's very dangerous to even, unless you have a reason for it, to just come out and say, oh, it's suicide, this guy did it, based upon things we have no idea about. Why on an hour and a half flight does someone need to get up and go to the restroom? Doesn't happen often, but if you got to go, you got to go. Sure, maybe. The not having a second person on deck is not mandatory, so that not necessary. But we really don't know anything other than what someone told the New York Times he heard on the tape, which he might not have even heard himself. But okay, so what can this be? First, everyone's saying decompression. We cannot know. I'm not a fan of Airbus. We've talked about this. I don't like the composite. I call it a plastic airplane. Please don't email me and say they're perfectly safe. I don't care. I don't like it. I like sheet metal and rivets. I certainly do not like the fly-by-wire system. The Airbus 320, really one of the first planes to be completely automated. You talk to a computer. Every flight input, every control input goes into the computer. The computer then controls the aircraft.
And we have to remember that this particular, I don't have the clip, but this particular model, the 320, is the one that crashed at the Paris Air Show.
Well,
they were doing a stunt, some sort of a almost land takeoff stunt that the plane didn't like, according to one side of the story, and it crashed into the bushes, just past the runway. Right. And the pilot was blamed for the whole thing, even though a lot of evidence indicating that the plane itself drove itself into the bushes.
Yes. Now I have an incident report from November 5th, 2014. This is what aircraft was this? Well, it's a Airbus 320, and this is the Flight Safety Foundation. Here we go. During climb, 12 nautical miles northwest of Pamplona, approximately flight level 310, so that's close to where they were at. It was 7,000 feet lower. The aircraft unexpectedly decreased the pitch autonomous and started to descend. The aircraft reached a rate of descent of up to 4,000 feet per minute. The crew was able to stop the descent at flight level 270. So they dropped a good, not as much as this other, but they went from 31 to 6,000 feet. But it was a sudden thing that the aircraft just did by itself. The flight was continued. Aircraft landed safely at its destination, Munich Airport. Following this occurrence, ESA released into its new flight crew procedure, which is as follows. An occurrence was reported where an Airbus airplane encountered a blockage of 2 angle of attack probes during climb, leading to activation of the Alpha Protection, Alpha Prot, while the Mach number increased. Flight crew managed to regain full control of the flight and landed uneventfully. So that is disturbing when aircraft start to do these things by themselves. So that is one possibility, that there was a malfunction with the aircraft that was unrecoverable, and all of this cockpit noise is just completely made up by someone leaked to the New York Times of some authority, which is how I would do it. If, I don't know, if I was Airbus and I'm always fighting against Boeing, we've got the American Senate and Congress coming up with $1 trillion increase in spending for military. We've got the actual military budget. Talks are ongoing. Airbus announced they were looking to raise the output of the A320 this year, going to perhaps 70 or 80 aircraft a month. There's air shows. There's orders being placed. Let me tell you, in the realm of this kind of business, 150 people, spit in the bucket. Who gives a shit? So if something goes wrong, not that no one's out to kill people necessarily, but this is a bad time, a very bad time to have anything go wrong with Airbus. Certainly, if the fleet would be grounded for something that seems to be a real issue. I'll give you one other theory that could have happened, maybe, if you want to believe. If we really ever hear this cockpit voice recorder, and I don't see why we wouldn't, but I'm pretty sure we won't.
I can see why we wouldn't.
We're pretty sure we won't. The A320 is also one of several aircraft who have had issues with cockpit fumes. December 18th. Fumes in the cockpit on A320. Actually, the pilots started to become nauseous. They threw on their oxygen masks and landed. And what's happening is hydraulic fluid from the yaw damper actuator has been leaking, and it leaks into the inlet of the auxiliary power unit. Now, we've been tracking fumes in aircrafts for maybe 5-6 years. This has been ongoing, but certainly on the flight deck. So you could say maybe, and that would explain a lot of things that we don't have answers to or have actually heard any proof of. Maybe fumes got in, pilot in command say, hey, I'm not feeling good, I'm going to go to the bathroom. He walks out, and then possibly the first officer becomes incapacitated. But that would mean that the pilot in command who wanted to come back and was banging on the door, that he forgot the code he actually used to get into to get out and get back into onto the flight deck. So that doesn't really make sense. I think none of it is true. I think that this is a malfunction. There's something incredibly wrong with this type of aircraft, or maybe with a piece of the engineering, which, in my mind, they never should have gotten rid of flight engineers. This is what technology does for you. This is where technology, it may be great, but you had 3 guys on the flight deck, which is always good, because pilots, they get crazy. They get nutty. They become assholes. And if you have 2 guys instead of 1, and you can, I've read stories of flight engineers who have definitely intervened with crazy pilot crap. So not necessarily a benefit to remove a person. That's why I don't think this will be used. It shouldn't be used, I think, if this is what I think it is, to remove pilots entirely from the flight deck, because then you'll have nobody left to blame these shitty airplane crashes on. That's what I'm thinking.
That's a good theory. The number of screwy incidents that have taken place with the 320 that seem to be computer related. In fact, that same guy who's talking about the protocol on Rachel's show, he did mention, he said the weird thing to him about the crash was the speed was never changed, and it was going at full speed.
Well, let me stop you there. It is my understanding that there is a let's just call it a toggle, but I don't think it's an actual button, but maybe a virtual. You can make the aircraft descend at maximum VMO, so it won't be coming apart, and it will actually deploy air brakes automatically, so you stay below your. I think I know I'd have to look up the exact envelope to know what. I'll have it here somewhere. It was within the limit, so it was not coming apart, but that's an automatic descent that the aircraft can do with one input from the flight crew. It'll automatically do that.
Well, what he said was somebody had to do something. Yeah. But the other possibility that was initial before they talked about the pilot going nuts, and there's pictures of this guy. He doesn't look like a complete lunatic.
No.
In fact, there's a picture that he posted on Facebook or someplace.
Yeah, he's overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It was that the initial thing when you have a problem on the flight deck is you try to fix it as best you can. That's your number one priority, and that's why they didn't. He believes this is the one possibility, the reason they didn't check in.
Well, here is
now if those other guys you just mentioned.
Here's the sequence: in an emergency, aviate, navigate, communicate. Communicate is third.
Right.
This is drilled into your head. Aviate to fly the plane. Just fly the plane. Then where am I going? And then tell someone what's going on.
The thing about that other incident that you talked about where they all of a sudden the plane decided to do its own thing, these guys resolved it. But was there ever a memo about this, how they did it or anything for other pilots to, in case this happens to you? Or did they just say, let's don't talk about it?
Well, that's what I just read is there's now a procedure that that flight crew must be trained in. So you can only suppose that they were trained in it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Now, there have been, I did a little scouring around the book of knowledge. I came up with 5 previous deliberate pilot-caused crashes as reported. That was the Silk Air Flight 185, Egypt Air Flight 990, Mozambique Airlines 470, Japan Airlines 350, and Federal Express 705. Which,
there was a Federal Express pilot that crashed a plane deliberately.
Let me see it's all links in the show notes, by the way, if you want to take a look at it. Here is. This is from.
No wonder I didn't get that package.
Well, a McDonnell Douglas DC-1030 cargo jet carrying electronics across the United States from Memphis to San Jose. This was 1994. Auburn Callaway, Federal Express employee facing possible dismissal for lying about his reported flight hours, boarded the scheduled flight as a dead-headed passenger with a guitar case carrying several hammers and a spear gun. Good. Also, the merger of, or the change of German wings to Euro wings by Lufthansa, and these guys were all looking at pay cuts, and that could be a reason if someone wanted to do this. I would say Shantix would be number one. I still don't know why the pilot in command left the flight deck and why he was not able to get back in, but we don't know. This is what I don't like.
It's all bullshit.
It's complete. There's no evidence, no data. Please let me hear at least the cockpit voice recorder. Otherwise, I can't take any of it seriously.
Well, it's really a shame that the New York Times would be the one to trigger all this gossip.
Gee.
Seriously.
Are you kidding me?
No.
There's gambling going on here? I'm shocked.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
The New York Times, they run interference for everybody. This is big. This is so big. The EADS, or what is it called now? The Airbus Consortium. This is big. And by the way,
I'll give you a prediction.
Wait a minute.
Will be blamed on the pilot, one of the pilots.
Definitely. And who pops up immediately? Merkel and Hollande together? They're going to the crash site. Nothing wrong here. Of course, they're both in the Airbus consortium, both countries.
Yes, both of them.
So to me, it sounds like we need to let everybody know this has nothing to do with our product. And I think the product is generally generally safe, but there have been these strange
There's
occurrences.
computers that are the problem. There was a book that came out about 10.
Yes, it's called the Unabomber Manifesto. It's
There was a besides that one, which reminds me, I got to get that.
it's linked in the show notes. You can always download the copy.
But no, there was a book that came out that was documenting all these crazy foul-ups that happened to people because of the computer glitches. Just bad programming is what it really is.
Yeah.
And my favorite one, which is the most gruesome one, is there was a CT scanner, which is a massive X-ray machine that was computer controlled for the purposes of this very advanced testing. And I guess the first round of software is that when you punched in how much Röntgens you want to drill the guy with, if you use the delete key to back it off, it just added more zeros to the thing.
Yeah, it's a bug. It happens. Exactly.
It's a bug. And so you say, oh, I don't want 10 million. I want, 10,000. So you pop off 3 of the zeros, which added
3 zeros.
10 billion or something.
Right.
And this poor bastard got roasted in this thing.
This is why I'm saying it was not necessarily a great idea to remove flight engineers. If you recall, there was a flight engineer on every big aircraft. The guy sat sideways and he monitored everything.
Yeah.
Now, we're seeing unintended consequences of technology all the time. I believe this is certainly one of them. But I've seen this happen myself. Where I flew Eurocopter for a while, which is it's a nice craft, but it's all managed by Windows NT, and I've seen the flight management crash while I was flying. The NT crashed. It rebooted. So I had there's some steam gauges, so I could know what my N1 was it was a turbine engine, but I really had no other information. Everything went out, navigation, the whole thing. So besides, obviously there's some standard gauges, so I could fly if necessary. I could fly on that if necessary, but just to have a computer flight control system reboot mid-flight, that's not good.
Well, let me tell you my story. And I think this is the reason that people are dropping Microsoft Sync. And Microsoft Sync, of course, was put in cars so it could do some entertainment stuff. But there was a long-term goal is to, kind of simplify the vehicle's wiring in all cars to one bundle of networked wiring instead of like a million wires. There's no reason to have a wire going from the switch to the backlight, and then another wire going from the switch to another backlight, and having this huge cables. Most cars have this harness, it's called, of tons of wires, and it could all be done by one wire on a network, because that's how networking works. You just have one wire touch everything, and then the network takes care of it. And so this is the long-term goal of automobile engineering, because it would save a fortune. so
Passengers be damned.
So I'm reviewing, actually, a Ford C-Max, and I'm up in Washington, and I'm going to drive all the way to California in this thing. I'm dragging my daughter down with me.
What kind of automobile is this?
It's a funky looking Ford. It's a car it's actually a pretty nice car to drive, but it's a
hybrid. Hybrid?
It's a hybrid. Mm-hmm. Well, the one that people buy is the hybrid. This one was just a straight gasoline.
All right.
It got a good mileage, 37. So even though it said 50, all these mileage things are bogus. So it's Christmas time, so I've got a CD in the player playing a song. I guess it's, and all of a sudden
grandma got run over by a reindeer. I'm just guessing.
It was something stupid, and and everything except the heater, thank God, is controlled by this system, this computer that's in the car. Sync, Ford Sync, which is actually Microsoft's product. All of a sudden, out of the blue, after coming out of a gas station, the thing crashes. And it crashes, and it's just a blank screen, and it's just sitting there, and I'm pushing buttons. I'm trying to do anything I can to get it rebooted. I'm trying to find out how to reboot it. It won't reboot, but the CD keeps playing the same song over and over, and we've got 10 hours.
And you couldn't shut it off?
Couldn't shut it off, and you couldn't turn it down. The whole thing was a mess. So I was playing this stupid song the whole while. I'm getting tired after about an hour of this, and nothing works. But luckily, the heater, somebody was wise enough at Ford to disconnect some stuff from this crazy device. And so you can keep the heat on, because it was freezing out. It would have froze to death in the car. So this thing's going on. And so I finally got on the phone and called a couple of dealers that are on the way down saying, how do I fix this thing? Or what can I do? Do I have to come in and say, oh, yeah, this? And the guy says, oh, yeah, this happens a lot.
Good work.
Thinking, geez, it's terrible. So I finally, about 2 hours into this, I just about 10 miles away from the dealer that'll at least look at it. It rebooted and started over again. It was fine after that, but it took like over 2 hours to reboot. And this stuff sucks.
These are the unintended consequences of relying on technology. There's a lot of these things that are going to happen. Look at, that's more planned, but look at online banking. Cash being outlawed. And what happens? Well, you're going to have little glitches. We're all conditioned to trust a glitch. You're not going to have money and just all unintended consequences.
Yeah, you're not going to, that's going to happen a lot.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Where's my money?
You know, the French just put a rule in. You cannot pay someone more than 1,000 euros in cash. It used to be 3,000, now it's 1,000. Otherwise,
why?
For terrorist funding.
Really?
Well, that's what they say. Yeah, I have it right here. Where is it? War on cash. Yes. France steps up monitoring of cash payments to fight, quote, low cost terrorism. So from September onwards, people who live in France will not be allowed to make payments of more than 1,000 euros in cash, down from the current $3,000 limit, 3,000 euro limit. Any cash deposit or withdrawal over the limit will be automatically signaled to the TRACFIN anti-fraud and money laundering agency. You got to knock at the door. It's your own money. You can't use money.
Another thing that kind of backs up your theory. There's another thing the guy said, the Rachel expert. He says that the Airbus 320 is kind of self-aware and it's pretty hard to crash it. So even if you flip that switch and started to drop, it would notice, because it has radar, that there's a big mountain ahead, and it would avoid it crashing. It does that. It doesn't like to crash. It tries to protect itself for the benefit of the company. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I know that on a lot of these planes, you have these. It'll do stuff that you don't want to.
Here's the one thing I believe, that these guys were actually heroes and flew this thing into the mountains. They did what they could, so it didn't. There's nuclear reactors that are not far. Certainly, if you're coming down from 38,000 feet, there are populated areas, but they really picked the best place for total disaster to put that thing down. They even apparently turned towards it, because when you do aviate, navigate, communicate, the first thing you're doing is making sure you can fly the plane. If you can barely fly it, okay, where's this thing going to go down? And then on the way, you start to make calculations. The not communicating part, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Well, it'll come out in the wash. This is all speculation. It's too much of it. There's no speculation. Its ratings are back up.
Yeah, but it's no speculation on our part, because I'm right up front. We don't even know if this recording is real and why.
No, the news media is speculating like crazy. Rachel's talking about guys going crazy, terrorists jumping in the front seat. On a flight from Barcelona to Dusseldorf. There's a good one. And they're
that'll really get people's attention.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. Do I have questions and answers I get to do here or not? Or is that
are we done with our discussion?
So bottom line, when there is some actual data from the missing memory card, you could see some kid walking around there in the Alps, Heidi, puts in her camera. Bullshit. It's not an SD card.
Oh, look, I got free memory. Holy crap, 128 gigs. I couldn't afford this card.
But when we actually know something, I'll be happy to give you some information. But just the way this was done, with unnamed sources, highly ranked, anonymously to the New York Times, with assumptions such as it was the other guy banging on the door, smells of a big pile.
Bullshit.
So.
All right, so this is the new Ask Adam segment.
Does that mean we play a jingle for Ask Adam?
Yeah.
I think we should do a little one here.
Ask Adam, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I want you. This is Rachel. This is part of one of her. This is either about the Airbus crash or Bergdahl. I can't remember one of the two, but it's not. It's beside the point. I want you in clip one. This is one question. This is the Rachel one question. I want you to play this very short clip and tell me what she says.
Okay.
These new tails.
Hold on. Do I get another?
Yeah, you can play as much as you want.
Another go. Okay. All right.
These new tails.
These nude tails?
These new tails.
New tails?
These new tails?
No, she's saying something. New tails. She's saying something else.
Nude.
Nude?
These new tails?
No, why are you leading the witness?
I am.
Stop it. Be quiet.
New tails?
New tails? Nude?
These new tails?
I'm going to say these new tails.
All right, now play the well, you might as yes.
I'm
exactly.
just guessing I was wrong. And
now play the bigger thing so you can catch context and maybe understand what she tried to say.
Okay. Emphatically, that NBC News has not independently confirmed these new details that have been provided to the Times.
Oh, she's trying to say new details?
Yeah.
Yeah, new details.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it leads me to the second part of the quiz. This is a infomercial for our country western song set, and you're going to hear Charlie Pride kibitzing with Crystal Gale.
Oh, from Brown Eye Blue? Don't Make My Brown Eyes Blue?
Yeah, that girl. Beautiful song.
Yes.
She says something, and then they cut right to Tammy Wynette's chest. And tell me that she's not saying what I think she's saying here.
Country music crossed over to the pop charts
as radio stations across America played the newest hits.
Yeah, there's a nude erection.
She says newest tits.
Yeah, new tits. The newest tits.
She says they play it again. It clearly says new tits.
No, she says newest tits.
She says new tits.
New tits. All right. Remember, there's a new direction.
Country music crossed over to the pop charts
as radio stations across America played the newest hits.
She says the newest tits.
Oh, newest tits.
Yeah, the newest. Newest
tits. And then they play Tammy Wynette.
Yeah.
She doesn't say newest hits.
No, she says newest tits.
She says newest tits.
Yes, that's what's clearly on her mind. It's a Freudian slip.
Yeah, I thought so. But you'd think they'd edit these things out.
Isn't that a live show?
No, it wasn't live. It was a bull crap thing. They, one of those pay by the hour.
Yeah, but they couldn't because they already had the track underneath, and you can't separate that when you do it again. So I understand how that works, and it's funny. Okay. And let's face it, it's funny. We're all sitting there in the control room, like, did you hear what she said? Yeah, keep it in. Should we burn that? No, keep it in, man. Keep it in. It's good. It's funny. It's funny.
All right. I'm sorry I went this way.
That's okay, because with that, it is time for me to thank you very much for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for Cockpit Voice Recorder Dvorak.
And in the morning to you, Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to all the newest hits in the chat room, noagendastream.com. Thank you all for being here and depleting your $9.2 million value, lifetime value, that is. And in the morning to Lind Hartson. Lind Hartson did the album art for episode 706. And I think, was this another one we were not sure what we were going to do? No, actually, I think we were spot on. We were agreeing. Scrub In was the title. It was the Islamic State group logo. Right. That was good.
Well, we had, I also used the Martin J.J. art for, I believe, the Evergreen piece for the newsletter.
Yeah.
Which, didn't do that well. It was a newsletter that was pretty lame, I guess.
I didn't think it was lame.
It people didn't go, oh, these guys. And so we ended up with we actually have one by default. The Baron A.J. Reistad, who had actually donated for show 700 and wanted a forward of a second because it was a double. You get double credits,
right?
And so he got his second credit. And I don't see that he sent us a note. It was Eric the Shill who caught it.
No, he emailed, And I forwarded the email to Eric. Oh, yeah, you were copied on it. Don't worry. He tried.
Somehow I missed it.
He did LIFO, and it worked for me. So yeah, that's good.
Well, okay, good. Well, let's start with Baron A.J. Reistad, who contributed 707 for show 700, and then also gets credit for show 707. Becomes a member of the 707 Club.
Yep.
Caldwell, Idaho. No jingle request, but a birthday shout out for the following human resources would be greatly appreciated. And he talks about his wife of 10 years, Peggy, on the 28th of March, our daughter, Katie, who turns 8 on April 2nd, and then Aries. Our son, Nate, who turns 5 on the 14th of April. A bunch of Aries.
Also Aries.
Bunch of Rams.
Yep.
Again, thanks. By the way, this is the year of the Ram from the Chinese New Year, so this is the good one. You got the double hit. Again, thanks for the special consideration for granting dual credits for future episodes, if only for me, it seems. Then we have an executive producer named Anonymous 45678. No name or location, he says. Those are our 2 executive producers.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. And then associates, we only got 2 of those.
Mm-hmm.
Linton, this is what I said. The newsletter didn't do anything. Linton Harry, Darwin, Northern Territories, Australia, 200. Thanks for the great show from Darwin.
Yo.
And then Dame Francine Hardaway from Phoenix, 200. And she says, I want my bad science and perky breast. Please look up my balance so I can see if I become a baronet test soon.
She posted something on Twitter, I think. She said, if I make baronetess, do I get bad science and perky breasts? And I've met Dame Francine. It's weird when women say they want perky breasts. It's weird. I felt uncomfortable answering the question. I did. But Dame Francine, we're happy to do an investigation once you have your title.
We'll do.
Just let me know.
For you.
Just let me know.
And that's it. That's all we got.
Thank you very much.
I want to remind people we do have a show on. What is this? Today's Thursday. Today's Sunday. Today's Thursday.
Today is Thursday.
On Sunday we got a show which is a short week. So if we have any input like this again, it's going to be crap. And we would hope people were more enthusiastic about the show since we're doing stuff nobody else does. I made that point clear.
Yes, that was the newsletter did so well when you made that point. We also still have our Fletcher Fest on deck. This is a special donation amount, $314.15. We'll have a big hoo-ha mix of all the different shouts. He did already send me We're
not going to do this forever, by the way. And if it doesn't get any more traction, we're just going to end it. So now, I do have, by the way, I will apologize that I did not get to the post office box on time.
Ah, okay. It was closed?
Because I had to go out to Fry's to get gear to get this double monitors to work. And I go there and nobody I said, well, I can't get the questions I want answered online because everyone is the answer to everything apparently is buy a Mac.
Yeah.
So I decided, well, they have people at the help desk at Fry's and there's a couple different ones. Nobody knows anything. DisplayPort is a huge mystery. In fact, I wrote a note. This will be a complaint, by the way, for a while. So I wrote a note to the DisplayPort.org folks, and I asked them about this problem because they have a FAQ on their website because DisplayPort is the way we're all going to be stuck using these machines. So they have a huge FAQ. 90% of it. Well, this is an exaggeration. But too many questions on the FAQ, as though people were going to ask this question is, does my DisplayPort 2.2 or 3.0, does it make sure that the copy protection works so I can be assured that I can't copy anything from the video stream so all the copy protection works? Like anybody cares about that, except the people that are putting out copyrighted stuff, right?
But I don't know. You lost me 5 minutes ago.
Nobody knew anything at Fry's either.
I just wanted to play the Fletcher shouts that we have. Now we're at Fry's.
I'm sorry. This is a thing. So I didn't get to the post office because I was.
So these will be. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. These will be made available. We had Ron Pepper, who. Pepper. He got that one. And Pepper also wanted a Rebecca as well.
Rebecca!
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
And then
it's the way his voice cracks that makes it so entertaining.
And then we have Timnonymous.
Timnonymous!
Now, So this will not last forever. We'll have all of them available. Hopefully one of our sound mixologists will make a cool mix of it all, which I'll put them all in a bin and everyone can grab them, particularly if your name is Pepper or Rebecca. That's good. Fletcher's also expanding.
Is he gaining weight?
No, he's done a new form of jingle. I thought somehow he did this, and I think he nailed it. I wanted to discuss with the review board if the full board agrees.
Allahu Akbar.
I don't know. Something about
what did he say?
Allahu Akbar.
Oh, Ali Akbar.
But somehow the way the Akbar comes in, I just thought was cute.
I play it again.
Allahu Akbar.
It sounds like a poo at the end of the thing.
Akbar. I don't know. I liked it. I liked it. Yeah. It's kind of cool. All right. Thank you very much to our executive producers and associate executive producers for supporting the program. We do need more help for the Sunday show. We'll work on a better newsletter, I guess, to remind you of the things we do to actually help. But there's also in today's program a lot of producers stepped up with the knowledge because they are in certain industries. So that is coming up. Dvorak.org/NA. That is the one.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Now, of course, we always need people out there doing the incredibly important work of propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Amen. Fist bump.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Yo. All righty.
Well, we got Bergdahl to talk about. We can get that out
I'm glad you're doing that because I completely glazed over once I heard the charges. I'm like, okay, we were right about that, and just left it.
We were right about that.
Just left it for what it was. All right, what you got?
I got nothing.
Bergdahl clip?
I got the Bergdahl clip, and we could talk a little bit about it, and then we're done.
Now, more on the case of U.S. Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. He has been back in the U.S. since being released by the Taliban last year in exchange for the transfer of 5 Guantanamo detainees to the nation of Qatar. Soon after that deal, some of the men who served with Bergdahl came forward and said they believed he deserted his post. This afternoon at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Army Colonel Daniel King announced the charges against the soldier.
The U.S. Army Forces Command has thoroughly reviewed the Army's investigation surrounding Sergeant Robert Beaudry Bergdahl's 2009 disappearance in Afghanistan and formally charged Sergeant Bergdahl under the Armed Forces Uniform Code of Military Justice on March 25, 2015, with desertion with intent to shirk important or hazardous duty and misbehavior before the enemy by endangering the safety of a command unit or place.
Stop. It goes on and on. Now what ensues, to me, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the NewsHour, and something everyone dreads. They've apparently given a block, the C block.
Oh, and they can't fill it for some reason?
Well, they can fill it. So Judy Woodruff, I guess, was sold a bill of goods on Bergdahl's attorney coming on, who's the Yale professor.
He was a dud?
A dud.
Oh, this is bad.
He comes on, and he's also
this is so bad.
Kind of a arrogant a-hole he's kind of got a scruffy beard, and he's just like a professorial type of. It's apparently Yale law. And here's the way it starts. This is the part 1.
And with me now is Eugene Fidel. He is Sergeant Bo Bergdahl's lawyer. He is also a scholar in law at Yale University. Eugene Fidel, welcome. We know Sergeant Bergdahl got the news while he was at Fort Sam Houston, Texas. Was he expecting this charge? What was his reaction?
Well, I can't tell you what his reaction was because that would be breaching the attorney-client privilege. But
so if I'm just here to promote my firm, and
he's not even in a firm. This is what his whole thing is, and she just is irked by this. Obviously, he won't even say what did Bergdahl wink. Oh, I can't say that because he has attorney-client privilege. So he goes on like this. This is his whole thing. She got nothing out of him. So she decides to drop a little bomb on him, and this is, to me, is the only thing she could do to actually kind of get at the guy.
Is he guilty?
Judy, I'm not going to go into that. I've made a point over the time since I was asked to represent Sergeant Bergdahl of not attempting to try the merits of the case in the media. I'm going to hold to that rule if you don't mind.
So she just says, is he guilty?
Yeah. Might as well.
Anything out of this guy, you might as well throw that one out there, because that Norm, I've never seen her do that ever.
It is indeed one of the worst things. And this is part of the problem. And even though I sometimes think to myself, wouldn't it be great if I had producers, here to write stuff and collect stuff and clip stuff? And then I think to myself, no, because it would suck. Because then you have to do twice the amount of thinking. What's on the clip? What is? I didn't hear it. How did he end it? What's the edit? When you do everything yourself, you don't run into these things. We would know if it was shite, if she had done her own little pre-interview or whatever with the guy. She would have known.
I don't know why she didn't, but I think a lot of it because he was off-site, and she doesn't do pre-interviews. And the guy was off-site.
While you bring this up, there was another interview, which is doing the rounds. Excuse me. This is it's one of the former Greenpeace guy who is now a consultant to Monsanto. There's a lot of GMO stuff. Let me see. Let me just see if I can find this guy's name. He was being interviewed in France about, but I think he was there to promote this golden rice. I think we've talked about this before.
No, the golden rice with the vitamin A.
Yeah, which is going to save the world of overpopulation. I'm just cutting to the chase. That's what they're saying. That's really what they're trying to tell you. And so this guy is there, and he consults for Monsanto. Patrick Moore is his name. And there's a report that came out, which I have not gone through in any detailed fashion yet, saying that Roundup Ready, the main Monsanto herbicide, insecticide.
No, herbicide.
Herbicide. Okay, that does not kill their genetically modified seeds,
right,
which Bill Gates and these guys are trying to spread all over Africa, because then we will own the continent.
Well, we've been trying to kill off the Africans for some time.
Well, hello, they're annoying. And they don't. I have stuff on that too. Anyway, so I do. So he. So the interviewer does something really, really interesting when this guy is pontificating about how safe Roundup Ready is.
Not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually.
Okay. So he's like, you can drink a whole quart and it won't kill you. And the guy says, oh, you want some? But got some right here. Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Not really, but
Not really?
I know it wouldn't hurt
really.
you.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
So first he says,
what a great interview.
Yeah, first he says,
you can drink it, then he won't drink it.
Yeah.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually, but not really, but
really?
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Okay, so you.
No, but I know
so it's dangerous,
right? I know people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot. Interview me about golden rice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, then it's finished. Then the interview is finished.
That's a good way to solve things.
Yeah. You're a complete jerk.
You're a complete jerk.
That is a great. I mean, it's borderline clip of the day, but it's just. Why wouldn't I give it to you? I think it's because I think these kinds of things go on a lot,
all the time. It's okay. I'm not.
Hey, you're an idiot. You're a complete jerk. You're an idiot. It's good.
Well, this does come amidst a whole bunch of news about.
And by the way, let's stop. If the guy comes on and makes a blanket statement, hey, you can drink. I drink a quart of it, and you won't even have a sip. What are you doing on the show,
well,
you big phony?
That's why he left. He knew he had nothing left to do there. He sucked. But of course,
here's another thing people should be aware of. You're going to go on a show and pull a stunt like this. For one thing, you're dishonest to begin with. But if you're going to leave the guy hanging there with you not in there, all he's going to do is rag on you.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I would do. This guy, I've only had one guy when I was doing Real Computing, I think was the show, or Software Hard Talk, one of the two. And this was during the early days of the MP3 era, and I had Skunk Baxter on, who's a very interesting character in himself.
Wait, isn't he a bass player?
No, he's the guitarist in
guitarist.
Dan.
Yeah, guitar.
That guy, and his manager. And his manager was I don't know what was wrong with the guy, but he was just yelling and screaming like a maniac about people stealing music. And it was crazy to the point where you couldn't ask him a simple question without him yelling and screaming. We had to kill the interview. We just killed it. We never ran. And
I've had some tough interviews in my time.
You run into these guys, but the worst, of course, is the guy who doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I had one, Brian Adams, who I was a huge fan of Brian Adams. And finally, I was going to meet him, interview him. But he was on tour, which, that's why I give him some leeway many years after the fact. But I was like excited, like, oh, cool, I'm talking to Brian Adams. He was a total dick. Just like, wouldn't answer anything, just a glib.
Well, this is why I've always concluded you don't want it. This whole model is terrible.
Yeah, sounds good. So
I got another story.
Let me. I wanted to move on with Monsanto.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry, we're still on Monsanto.
Yeah, we're still on Monsanto.
Much better.
Because we have a jingle, so Monsanto. I want to play the jingle as often as possible. And they should be licensing that from us, by the way. It's a great jingle.
Sound. It's as good as See Something, Say Something.
Yeah, it's just as good. In fact, they are right next to each other on the jingle pad.
If you see something, say something, Monsanto.
Perfect. Interesting on Bill Maher's Overtime, which is the only real thing you want to watch from that stupid show. Then I had a whole bunch of nitwits on. But then one woman, I don't know who she was talking about how many children she had. And this is the de facto thinking. And this is why you see a lot of population control, just nutty stuff. Bill Maher really wants to have less children. I think he wants to ultimately kill people off the planet Earth. And I listen to this.
And she had children the natural way. But I think it was an incredible...
babies are babies.
I'm always for less babies being born because we do not have...
That's horrible, Bill.
That's horrible?
I'm the mother of 5 kids.
Well, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be.
My poor children. They're awesome.
Well, that's super selfish in a world...
Super selfish?
Absolutely.
No way.
A world does not have...
They will be contributors to our society. God only knows
I
one
don't
of my
care.
kids...
They'll be takers of water.
No, they will not.
They will not take...
Did you hear this? They'll be takers of water and resources.
Well,
they need to take water.
Well, they need to take water.
They do need to take water. Come on.
The birth rate in the United States, as it continues to decrease, at least the Schlapps are providing some extra kids here and there.
Well, we don't need extra
and
kids.
they're half Cuban, so there you go. And Irish and German.
But the world does not have enough resources to indefinite. What do you mean? Come on! What is your problem with
because
facts?
I have 5
Facts.
What's the problem with facts? These are facts.
That is a fact.
Fact.
On the best podcast in the universe.
We have 9.
This is going to be fingernails on the blackboard for those there might be a few Democrats in the audience, just a few.
You think?
But genetically modified, less water, less fertilizer, less land. You can feed a world of 9 million people, which we're closing in on, but we get great resistance just to have an intelligent conversation about it. And I think that's part of the solution to the world population.
And Monsanto children are not synthetic.
Right. There you go. I'm telling you, there's a move, there's a push, and it's no bueno.
Well, something's up with Monsanto.
Well,
anyway.
here's the.
Well, before you go on, I've tried to stop the clip. I don't think you can hear me.
Not always, no.
It was what is it? The guy said he used the term, and then it reminded me was that human eaters or useless eaters.
Yeah, that's who said that? The useless eaters. That was a
He had a different version of the same thing.
Oh, that was Prince. Wasn't it Prince Charles? I think it was Prince Charles who said that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Useless. You know what we do when we do that? It says
consult the book of knowledge.
But that's disgusting. I mean, I don't know.
I'm trying to see useless eaters.
How's it selfish to have 5 kids?
Henry Kissinger, apparently. I'm just reading.
No, I don't believe that either.
Urban Dictionary, term implied in National Security Study Memorandum 200 written by Henry Kissinger. Basically implies there are too many useless eaters consuming valuable resources would be better used by a reduced world population.
Well, Bill Maher and Kissinger, the same thing.
Yeah. But
they're in good company, Maher.
But it is happening, and there are now approved. Well, listen to this report.
America is getting a new line of biotech fruits and vegetables containing the.
By the way, the biotech, I like that better than GM. Biotech fruits and vegetables. That sounds so
sounds cool,
trendy.
Qualities most humans want: indefinite youth and perfect aesthetics. Now,
yeah, most humans want their food for indefinite use and aesthetic appearance. Fuck nutrition.
Most humans want indefinite youth and perfect aesthetics. Now, the regular apples we're accustomed to eventually turn brown after being sliced open or when rotting. But the Arctic apples approved by the FDA have been genetically engineered to stay crisp and resist any kind of discoloration. So the fruit of temptation will look flawless for hours or even days after being sliced open. Meanwhile, the GMO innate potatoes approved by the U.S. government will be altered to resist bruising. When fried, they will reportedly produce less of a potential carcinogen. Now, advocates say keeping the produce flawless will cut food waste and make the apples and potatoes more appealing. But amid growing backlash and public concern surrounding GMO foods, some experts believe consumers may abandon apples and potatoes altogether. The U.S. government claims the genetic Arctic apples and innate potatoes are as safe as their conventional counterparts, but there's reason for the public to be skeptical. In 2013, the U.S. assured the public that the widely used weed killer known as Roundup is safe to use without unreasonable risk to people or the environment. Yet last week, a branch of the World Health Organization released a study indicating that an active ingredient in Roundup can probably cause cancer. Monsanto, the world's largest producer of GMO seeds and Roundup, dismissed the WHO study as inaccurate and dramatic.
Now, there's something called the Cartagena Protocol. But I think that's it.
But I want to, before you go there, I wouldn't want an apple. Apples oxidize. That's what happens when you cut one open. The surface, there's, it's a living product and it's alive.
It's food.
It's food for the seeds.
It's a plant. It's a growing thing.
And it does things that naturally. And I'm sure these apples are inert, just like eating there's probably no
like
way
you could eat a tennis ball. It would have the same nutritional value. It might even be tastier.
I'm sure they taste similar. Yeah. I don't believe for a minute. The problem that they've always come up with, McDonald's has been breeding, a certain kind of tomato that holds up better and it stores better and it's firmer. Mm-hmm. But these things have no flavor. And
zero flavor.
Every once in a while are confronted with a real tomato, which is you pretty much have to grow your own unless you're in an area that has good farmers markets. Then they go, ooh, what is that?
It looks ugly, but it has all kinds of lumps on it. That's no good.
Well, it's not even the lumps, it's the flavor. They don't want the flavor. There was this segment of the population that wants bland food. Yeah. They want a bland potato and a bland piece of lettuce and a bland tomato and a bland potato. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I'm in total agreement. Total agreement.
And they never breed. They go, they're going to breed this, they're going to breed that. They never breed for flavor. Ever. I've never heard of one product ever genetically modified for flavor. I've never heard of anyone saying, oh, here, we found a flavor gene. Let's put it in this spud. Maybe it'll taste more potato-y. No, they never do that.
In 2003, 168 nations adopted the Cartagena Protocol on biosafety, which puts the precautionary principle as primary, i.e., if you have not sufficiently proven safety of genetically modified organisms and other bioengineered crops, protection of human health is primary, not the protection of free trade, which is what this is really all about. Once the protocol came into force, of course, we had huge lobby, and African governments and institutions were lobbying hard for GMO crops to be accepted with minimal safety assessment. And the USAID is, of course, assisting the regional economic communities in Africa to develop policies aimed at doing anything but ensuring biosafety. And this
USAID, hello.
The Belinda Gates people, they're big investors in Monsanto.
Yeah, that and Corrections Corporation of America and some other things that have nothing to do with vaccines or malaria.
Right. And so they're all over this because, of course, the trick is once you got the seeds in, which are patented, trademarked, copyrighted, etc., then you're stuck. You can't get out. You're with that. You're with Monsanto. And even if your neighbor does it and stuff blows over, you're with Monsanto, or you're arrested for stealing their valuable seeds, as they have patented nature.
They're contaminants.
Yeah, they have patented nature. And it's a beautiful thing.
Well, this is like an issue in India where there's
people are killing themselves all the time.
Suicides left and right because they get stuck into one of these downhill spirals of these crappy seeds that they can't reproduce themselves. The natural way it used to always be done, you'd grow something and then part of the crop would be used for seeds for next year.
Yeah.
And
no, you can't. You have to relicense every year with Monsanto.
Yeah, you have to relicense, and you can't even. Half the time, the seeds are, or you have to come right from Monsanto. You can't even use the seeds that you made.
No,
they should be able to fix some. I don't know. They should just. They should take.
Well, just having people aware of what's going on is important. I think doesn't help. That's then there are farmers markets, and we've got to. Hey, you put in your body what you want. You're going to get voted off the island eventually. All right, let's roll into some caliphate.
Caliphate in Iran. I think I'm gonna crap my pants.
So we're still trying to get the authorization of use of military force. Some changes up on the Hill as to the wording. But first, I would like to play a little bit of retired commander of AFRICOM, the United States Africa Command, Carter Ham.
We know where are they headquartered again? I forgot.
In Italy, I believe.
Yeah, Italy. That makes nothing but sense.
Carter Ham, I believe, was he the one that reportedly gave a stand down order to go and save our ambassador?
Oh yeah, he was in on the scam.
Yeah, he has a good consulting gig, couple of consulting gigs, but but he has something to say about something he has absolutely no knowledge of whatsoever, which always makes it funny. So his job is to now respond and explain how terrorists compiled this hit list of military personnel. We've discussed these things before. So they had a hit list of 800, I think, family names. And these are the military personnel that IS, ISIS, ISIL are going to go kill. And we should all be really afraid instead of what we usually do. But they do this through very, very evil ways in social media. And when you hear a guy like Carter Ham talking about social media like he knows what he's talking about, pretty hilarious.
General Ham, I want to talk to you about these threats to the family specifically. And you just heard Chairman McCall talk about it could be possible they could carry out those threats. What does that do to a military community?
Martha, this is very disconcerting, obviously, to the families, the specific families that were identified in this release, but more broadly across the armed services, to know that those who engage in social media, that information now can be corrupted and used by a terrorist organization to threaten. And in worst case, what they hope to do is inspire or motivate someone here in the United States.
Here's how it went. General Carter, we got a gig for you. Oh, cool. What is it? Oh, you're going to go talk about social media and list. Oh, okay. Do you have my talking points? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, they can manipulate the information you post on social media. No problem. I got it. I can wing this.
To attack.
He used the term corruption or corrupt.
Yeah, you can corrupt the data.
How?
He's full of crap. He has no idea what he's talking about. That's why I liked it.
Or motivate someone here in the United States to attack or kill these service members or their families.
And I have to say that
let's review.
Wait, has this happened?
No.
Oh.
No, but they found a list.
Did they catch a guy trying to do it?
They found a list.
They found a list.
Yeah.
They could have written a list themselves. This could be bull crap.
Do I have to play this gambling clip every single time, or? Let's hear that little bit again.
That information now can be corrupted and used by a terrorist organization to threaten. And in worst case, what they hope to do is inspire or motivate someone here in the United States to attack or kill these service members or their families.
So by posting on social media, that can be corrupted so that they come and kill you. Just a slight leap. Just bear with me.
And I have to say that last night when this first came out, I went on Facebook to see if I could find those people that they talked about. Very easy to find. The Defense Department has said, clean up your social media. I went on again this morning, and some of those pictures were still public, and those names on Facebook accounts showing they're in the military. I suppose you would say, get that off social media as well.
Yes, the Department of Defense has been very active over the past many years of reminding service members and their families to be very cautious about the information that you put on social media, disabling your geolocation, being very circumspect about the location of the service members for precisely the reason that has now played out. And I worry that this increasing sophistication by these Islamic terrorist organizations to manipulate social media to their own ends is a very worrying trend.
Very worrying trend.
Let me mention something.
Yeah.
So the most popular show on television is NCIS. So NCIS has been all in. Their spin-off shows not so much, especially NCIS LA, which seems to have its own agenda. But NCIS is all in on whatever the government is telling him to write. I think they're one of the members of that clique.
The Lear Foundation Hollywood script writing.
So
service.
the last show in this last week that was about people using social media too much. And so there was some woman in this armed services talking about they're not going to be home, allowing some burglars to come in and rip off the place because the woman was always posting. The husband was in Afghanistan and she was posting left and right, but she was at the beach. And so they came in, and meanwhile, some terrorist found out about it. They was expected to find her getting home or something, and he had to kill the burglar and the terrorist. There's a convoluted story that actually didn't make any real sense. But this is all this anti-social media thing is getting steam in the regular mainstream dramas. I'm going to ask you, since you're the one that brought this subject up, why? What's going on that they want us all to be more circumspect with our social media? I got a way of doing it, by the way.
Well, I think I started the segment off by telling you why, is that we are working on the authorization, which is my next clip, the authorization on use of military force against IS. At the same time, the budget is being put together. We have 3 budgets, one from the president, one from the Armed Forces Committee. I have all these listed somewhere. They vary, but in general, we're moving towards almost $700 billion annually for the military budget, which is an increase, along with the sequestration removal, which will result in $1 trillion more spending. It truly is the only economy we have. It's what we do. So we need to keep the people stupid and afraid.
I think this has to do with these shysters like Richard Clark and the others, who are trying to horn in on something that's not necessary, which is cyber.
Yeah. That's
create a new military department.
Oh, yes. Well, we know the CIA is setting up a full cyber department. Here's this was a little exchange. If you get bored of it, I'll stop. But it was Moulton. Not sure where Moulton's from. Talking with Ashton Carter. Then Dempsey pops in, and this is about the specific enduring time period for the authorization for use of military force, when they say AUMF. So you recall that in the actual proposal, I think I have it here, the actual quote was that this will be an enduring operation, enduring offensive ground combat operations. And we, of course, looked up the meaning of enduring, and since we had Operation Enduring Freedom, we pretty much know that it's at least 13 years. But they decided to change this, and they put us in the proposal for this AUMF. They put in a change with a sunset clause of 3 years, which is interesting. And listen now to Carter, and I thought it was pretty funny how Dempsey comes in, the leprechaun, with his super suit. What that really means. Because does that mean we're really going to stop? Because we can't have the military-industrial complex actually thinking that it's only for 3 years. We need this to go on forever.
The time limitation has nothing to do with the length of the campaign. I cannot tell you that the campaign will be over in 3 years. I don't think anybody can tell you that. That feature of the AUMF is included for reasons that are not military related. They're related to the fact, they're derived from the fact that we will have a new president.
So what he's saying here is this 3-year thing, that's only because we have a new president, not because it's the ISIS is not going to be beheading people.
In 3 years. And the AUMF provides for a new president, and for that matter, a new Congress, to revisit this issue. Now, that's not something that comes from the Secretary of Defense, or I would say from our thinking, but we understand,
God forbid,
and respect it. It derives from the way the Constitution regards use of military force as a very grave matter in which both the Congress and the executive branch play a role. So I understand that, I respect that, but the number 3 doesn't come from the campaign. It comes from our political system. And again, as I understand and respect that, and I hope the result of all this is an AUMF that tells our troops that we're behind them in this fight. That's the key thing to me, in addition to having the flexibility to carry out the campaign that'll win.
One of the questions I had was the hostility. If the hostility, it doesn't say anything about the termination of hostilities.
This guy he's trying to make the point. He's using up all his valuable time. What he wants to hear is whether he wants it to be said or whatever. I'm not sure what side he's on. He wants to hear that, this 3 years, that's just for the new president coming in. We'll probably up the whole AUMF and change it to have more stuff. Yeah,
it's got to go up.
Up. Yeah, we don't want it just to be stuck in some. I think they actually realized they made a mistake. Oh man, if we put enduring in there, then we can't go back and change it to put more crap in.
Right, we can't add more money to this budget.
3-year period. Is it your feeling that hostilities could continue and that we could have actions against ISIL beyond the 3 years as currently written and implemented? General?
My military experience and judgment suggests that the answer to your question is it will likely extend beyond 3 years.
Likely. My military experience. Dude, I'm a disc jockey. I can tell you it's going to last longer than 3 years. Come on. This is what we do. This is the economy of the United States of America.
This is never ending.
This is what we do.
Money wastage. And besides that, China's going to attack any minute.
Yeah, okay.
There's a need for a rescue mission. When the world is threatened, when the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story.
I just want to play one more piece of this clip where this guy asks a question, and I thought Dempsey's comeback was pretty good.
Could it extend? Could hostilities extend without a new AUMF by a new commander?
If I understood the question, the enemy gets a vote, as we say, and how long hostilities extend. I actually don't understand the question.
Sure. I guess.
I don't understand what the hell you were talking about, son. No way.
Well, you always want to preface at government hearings, if you're anyone who goes and does one, if you can, preface your answer with some doubting commentary about you didn't understand the question, because that way you can't be called out.
And it certainly gives you time to think if you need it.
Well, it does that too, but the main thing is you never can perjure yourself, ever. If you say something.
If you say something like that. There's also, along with this, what was this report? MIT Technology Review. They show data mining Twitter data reveals the origins of support for Islamic State. And somehow, I'm now supposed to believe that the Massachusetts Institute of Technology
bull crap
has really checked out all of these accounts and the people behind them and therefore has been able to come up. Here's the subhead: studying the pre-Islamic State tweets of people who end up backing the organization paints a revealing picture of how support emerges through social media.
No, it doesn't.
Those inappropriate selfies you've been...
sorry, wrong one. I wanted to play the social media song.
Inappropriate selfies.
That was but that's not it. Oh, here it is. We have it. Just to get everyone's ear going.
Hey now, y'all. Can we just get real? Do we really care about our fans, or is this just another deal? Said another way, that we lost our way.
All right, everybody.
Social's about the people.
Get ready.
Remember, we are people. Do we really need another like, fan, or share? Do we need another post to show up everywhere? I hope as we scatter that we never forget.
This is the song, isn't it?
Live forever, even when we go.
Come on, sing. Here we go.
So connect with me. Let's have some fun. Let's show the world how this gets done.
Yo!
Let's get social. Social media.
Woo! Sing along, John.
Let's get social. With social media.
All right. Perfect.
All right. Well, that reminds me, as a segue, since this is going to go no further.
No.
So we have 86th birthday of the famous poet, beat poet, who is something of a character. And Lawrence Ferlinghetti, very famous beat poet from the 50s and 60s, had his 96th birthday.
Can you explain a beat poet? Is that where you, instead of clapping, you snap your fingers?
Well, you go to a coffee shop, somebody be reading some, dry poetry. You'd be on the bongos.
Yeah.
And
I'd be on the kazoo.
You'd be on the bongos listening while drinking cappuccino and probably stoned on reefer.
Black turtleneck.
Black turtleneck, right. You look like a guy with black turtleneck.
Stoned on reefer.
And listening to the guy read the poems. But anyway, Ferlinghetti's owns the City Lights bookshop, which was opened years and years ago, and it's still in San Francisco. And he's got some complaints about, the latest thing going on. And so here's what he says.
Today, San Francisco is better known as a central hub of the tech boom, a city of entrepreneurs and companies like Twitter that have become international giants. And while that boom is credited with driving unemployment to an all-time low, it's also blamed for rapid gentrification, making the city unaffordable for many. And that rankles Ferlinghetti.
A new brand of dot-com millionaires and generally Silicon Valley money have moved into San Francisco with bags full of cash and no manners.
The pace of change, Ferlinghetti says, has quickened beyond control.
Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah, he's right. I get it.
Cash,
yeah.
No manners.
Bags full of cash, no manners.
Cash, no manners.
They're all douchebags.
And so this, he's an old guy from the area, and he says there's a birthday, should show some respect, but in the manner of get a Mac as commentary. Yeah. And by the way, this is going to be our probably our ultimate demise. Will be a similar kind of reaction from the no manners, casual, callous a-holes who have taken over the place. This is what you end up with.
Of course, Ferlinghetti's is not the only view of San Francisco these days. When a version of this story was posted online recently, he did draw support, but there were a few strong blasts as well. What a crank, wrote one person. The city is still as vibrant and creative as it ever was, except now young, ambitious people are in tech. Another wrote, in 60 years, I'll be complaining about the new crop of San Franciscans. Fogey's gonna fogue.
Oh, it's ageism.
You're a crank, you're a fogey, and Fogey's got a fogue.
Yeah, get the fogue out of here.
Anyway, I just thought that was a little insight into the area. Nobody actually knows who this guy is.
Well, once the money runs out, everyone will be broke and gone.
Oh no, it does.
It's bound to happen.
I've witnessed it.
Twice. You've seen it twice, I think.
I saw it at least twice. I probably didn't notice it at least one more time, but I saw it during the CD-ROM era.
Ah, yes, we're multimedia.
Multimedia, right? That's it. That's the
We're going to have magazines will be on disc, multimedia.
Multimedia boom.
Hypercard.
Just before the internet.
Macromind Director.
And so you could buy all these different discs that have some interfaces on these discs. Fantastic.
Yeah. And what happened? The web happened. Boom. Goodbye.
Goodbye. That was that. So they got wiped out, and they were all singing the blues. And then we had .com 1.
What was that? Hold on, John. What was that? What was that? There was a standard that came out around that time for. Was it a device for like multimedia? There was some device.
It's a bunch of standards that came out.
There was an actual box that everyone was really excited about that went absolutely nowhere. It'll come to me.
I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
Whatever the case was, that was wiped out. Then the .comers were wiped out some years later. Not that many years, about 10 years later. And now we have this new boom, which I don't even know what the basis of it is, but it's huge. It's the biggest of the three. And these guys are going to get wiped out too. But this time they're building to an extreme in San Francisco. They showed it on this thing.
Yeah.
Apartments going up everywhere. They're not like the New York apartments, which are, the $50-60 million an apartment, which has become a big deal. By the way, Norman Lear is in one of those fancy ones.
CDI.
Yeah, CD Interactive.
Thank you, Void Zero. CDI. I remember now. CDI.
There's a apartment complex in New York City that took over as the place to have a place, right, which is 15 Central Park West. And I think they typically 30 million, 40 million for an apartment or a condo. They're condos. You buy them. And your buddy Norman Lear, who has been trying to influence the television operations, so everyone it's all liberals. And I think most of the people that live in these places are liberals. We pointed this out before. Norman Lear has a place
right there.
Yeah. Central Park West. Anyway.
How do we even get on that?
I was talking about Ferlinghetti.
Yes.
Getting no respect. A 96-year-old man being called a crank.
Oh, well, I think it's very interesting, but things always centralize, decentralize. The cycles come and go. And where we're at now, I was watching some of the F8, the Facebook Developers Conference yesterday. They streamed that live, and I think there was a Dutch girl who was doing kind of like hosting and stuff. She was pretty good. She had a real heavy accent, but they never put up a below her third. I couldn't figure out who she was, but she did a pretty good job. So I'm watching this. And the big thing now is that Facebook is saying, if news organizations, if you really want to succeed, you need to put your news into the Facebook feed, make it native to Facebook. And I know certainly a number of big media operations are going to do this. And I just because God forbid you have to click on a link and it opens a tab or your browser.
And can't do that. Too much work.
By the way, I want to say one thing about iOS. I'm okay with you having Twitter, Facebook app people. It's okay for me if you open up in your own little browser thing, but then at least let me access my bookmarks so I don't have to always open in Safari. It's like it's fucking annoying. So either pop it open to the browser or let me access my bookmarks. Anyway, we have now come full circle, John, because with the news and being safe in Facebook, what have we just created? AOL. This is exactly what it was. It was safe.
We created AOL a while back, but okay.
But now with the news, the actual news stories being native to Facebook, not popping out to the open web.
Hey, AOL was never a bad idea. For people that don't have a clue.
No,
that is. I always thought
so here's the vision at the time of the little bit of Adam Curry history. When I registered MTV.com in very early 90s, and I talked to management at MTV, and they said, "Oh, that's go ahead. We don't really believe in this internet thing. By the way, we have the AOL keyword." That's when I knew they had no future. So
you knew that you had no future?
They had no future. When they were excited about the AOL keyword instead of MTV.com.
Oh, yeah, AOL keyword. Yeah. We should start we should just put on our flyers and our plugs, AOL keyword,
no agenda. That would be kind of good.
I haven't seen anyone use that. That probably doesn't work
like
anymore,
I like it. Oh, by the way, we got, I think we got, one of our producers gave us informationapocalypse.com. which is kind of weird to spell, but it's worth it. Anyway, let's want to go over to the Euroland for a moment. I've been following this Irish water thing. I think it popped up on board, reappeared on my radar because of the bogative California. It has 1 year left of water, which, by the way, you can go on the street in 5 years from now, and people will still be saying it's a fact. NASA said only 1 year left of water. It's amazing to me. No, it's not amazing.
When did NASA become this? I thought they were about space exploration. When did they become the water barons and the climate change experts? And mainly that one guy, Hansen.
It's a government organization. They'll do what they're told.
They're looking for something to do, I guess.
So in Ireland, not to be confused with Northern Ireland, in Ireland, they've been running into problems with the budget. And water is, as far as I know, has been free. It's a free resource that your taxes are already paying for your water. And
Sounds good.
They want to change this now. And this has been going on for a while. There have been many protests. And let's just listen to a little update, and I'll tell you what's happening.
The government obviously is very pleased that a clear majority of people have signed up to pay for water. It's an expensive resource. We need to provide huge investment in water and sewage infrastructure into the future. And that can only be done if there is a significant contribution from people who are using that facility. Obviously, there has to be fairness and balance in the system. And if there are people who simply decide not to pay and who are in a position to pay, that can't be allowed to stand. There can't be a situation where any of us decide not to pay our bills. You know, if you come to a supermarket checkout and decide, no, not paying the bill and walk off, that's just not the way the system works.
So, how are they going to do it?
If it was a grocery store that said free food.
Yeah. No, the analogy is shite. But now Irish Water will be, under a proposal, I don't think it's been signed into law yet, Irish Water will be able to deduct water bills directly from wages and welfare payments.
How are they going to do this? There's no meters, are there? You wouldn't have a system with meters unless you were going to charge people. So if it was free, why would they even put a meter in? So there's no meters. They're going to put meters in? That'll cost a fortune.
Those who do not register will be charged a default rate of €260 per year, with fines of €30 being added per year for single adult homes, €60 per year for multiple adult homes. A lot of this is principal, obviously. Also announced unpaid bills can be left as a charge on a property, meaning a house cannot be sold unless the debt is paid. But this is where your cashless society is so handy. We just grab that money, take it right out of your account.
Yeah, that's the way this works.
I don't know how the Irish are. If they're really going to stand up against this. I think there's a big protest happening on Saturday. But it's quite a rigorous change for them.
What is the point? They're just trying to gouge the public with some new tax. I bet you in some of these areas they charge you for the air you breathe. You can make an argument for that. You have to go in once a year, like you do with your car to get it smogged. You have to go in once a year, and they put a kind of a mask on you, and you breathe in and out of the mask for 5 minutes, and they can calculate how much air, which is a valuable resource, how much air you're breathing, and then they can send you a bill. I don't see why not. It sounds like just same idea.
But they will send you a bill for carbon pollution.
Well, they could do that too.
I think that'll happen. I think
most of the people around this area, the Berkeley Bay Area, most of the people would buy into that because carbon pollution coming from humans is bad. It's too bad we have so many humans. We should all die.
Yeah. Well, this will be the last one. I like the they will all die. Here we go. This is, I only got this clip yesterday, but I've been looking around for the, it's under New World Order. What the hell is this? This proposal, which is obviously a war on men thing. Hold on. Why can't I? Oh, here, banksters. Listen to this. This is Senator, who is this? Shelby. No, shoot. I'm sorry. Now I can't find this all of a sudden. Where is this? Talk me through it, John, while I'm looking for the clip.
Well.
Never mind. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, no.
Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope.
Yep. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
Where the hell is? Oh, here it is. Yes, got it.
It's about time.
CBS.
Have you heard there's a growing movement this morning to give the $20 bill a facelift? It's a mission to replace Andrew Jackson on the 20 with the female American hero.
Yeah.
When they narrow it down to one, Howard says they'll ask President Obama to order the Treasury Department.
Do you know who the female American hero is?
Well, it's not going to be Hillary because she's still alive, but they'd love to put her on the bill.
You won't believe. You will not believe.
I would think. I think Tubbs would be a good possibility.
Tubbs. Who's Tubbs?
Tubman.
Tubman.
Yeah, Tubman, the one woman that was famous for helping the end of slavery or expediting it.
Oh no.
Harriet Tubman.
Oh no.
She's very good. Okay, well let me guess.
No.
That woman that was on the little dollars. That what's her name? I can't think of her name, but she was named. The dollar was named after her. She was.
I'm going to give you a hint.
Silver dollar.
I'm going to give you a hint. Now,
what kind of a hint is that?
Well, I'm going to give you the hint. That was just announcing the hint. Oh, here comes a hint.
What?
You have to think killing people.
Oh, some woman that kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, that could Eleanor Roosevelt.
Let's listen.
To order the Treasury Department to create a new 20. Just last year, the president said he got a letter from a young girl asking him to put a woman on U.S. currency.
Oh, yeah.
She gave me a long list of possible women to put on our dollar bills and quarters and stuff, which I thought was pretty good idea.
My personal choice would be Eleanor Roosevelt.
Presidential historian Doris Kearns Goodwin says Jackson, the seventh president, probably wouldn't even mind getting replaced.
He didn't like banks anyway. I don't know that he would have liked to be on a bill because he was the one who fought the idea of the national bank.
And I thought on this clip they would mention the name is Margaret Sanger.
Oh, no.
Yes, of Planned Parenthood. Known eugenicist. That's who they're proposing.
That is idiotic.
Yeah.
Well, they'll get a lot of pushback on that, so it won't happen.
Oh, it won't. But aren't mostly it's dead presidents?
Well, we tried to push it through, and the Republicans didn't like it.
Republicans didn't like it, exactly. All right. If this doesn't get clip of the day, then I don't know what will.
Well, you got something?
President Obama.
Announcing, by the way, let me just say something. Pre-announcing clip of the day as if you're going to get clip of the day takes a lot of nerve.
All right, then we'll do this.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
All right, he backed off.
Yeah, not
Let's
taking
thank
any
a few
risk.
people. That's okay. You can do the clip later and sneak it in and see if you get it.
I will.
Robert Warner, because you did that to me once. I said this is going to be clip of the day. You never gave me clip of the day. Robert Warner gets the donation of the day, at least a low end, $136.36 from Charlotte, North Carolina. No comment. Therese Ellen, Tampa, Florida, $130. Patrick Sullivan in Sturgeon County, Alberta, Canada, $125. It says cat pictures remind me of my own backyard. Oh, that's right. There's the cat in the snow picture. I used it before. I liked it. Maybe that's what didn't help us. Sir Mike Shoemaker in Kelseyville, California, 12345. Sir James Zuccal in Los Angeles, California, 100 even. Sandy Block in San Rancho Santa Fe, $99.99. Gets you some job karma at the end of the list. Jennifer Buchanan in Charleston, South Carolina, gorgeous town. 77 in honor of her 77-year-old dad who passed away last Friday after suffering bone and liver cancer. Well, it wasn't a listener. I definitely inherited my healthy skepticism from him, and will miss him tremendously. And need some karma to the Elizabeth Hospice team of San Diego County.
Yeah, we'll throw in some F cancer at the end.
And whoops. Oh,
that's sad.
This thing skipped ahead too far. That was Jennifer. Okay, Ben Smith in Greenville, Texas, 7373 K5, KF5 SWC, KF5 SWC.
Sugar Whiskey Charlie.
You didn't give him a 73s.
I'm sorry.
Mac Tank.
I'm sorry, I was doing other things.
Another 73 from Los.
Well, then I might. Hold on, let me do the 73. Let me do the 73s. You know, we have so many jingles that it's
out of control. Out of control.
Well, I could actually use a dude just sitting on the, like Howard Stern has Fred.
Yeah.
And that's all he does.
Yeah, that's true. But you can't afford it.
Nope.
And besides that, you do a fine job. Rarely do you drop the ball. In fact, it's so rare to me that it's like, wow, that's astonishing. I write the time and date.
It's very, you write it down when I do something good?
Yes, I always write it down when you do something good.
Is it one sheet?
Mac Tank in La Jolla, California, 73s. Alan Hawes in Windsor, UK. Oops, we got a missed birthday call out here. So let's give him, get your pencil out.
Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, shoot.
Birthday call out for my brother David Hawes, who reached...
From who?
From Alan.
Alan Hawes, the brother David. Hawes. Okay.
He's 50 years old yesterday.
All right.
He's in Windsor. It's a nice little town. I've been there. B. Matt Bremer in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, 5510, double nickels on the dime. Josh McDonald, double nickels on the dime. Dodge Gaskell in Pensacola, Florida, got a birthday call out there, 5033. And the rest of these are $50 donations, which is not that many. Anthony Dionisi in Reno. Stuart Fawcett in Liverpool, England. Stan Berezzuk. I don't know. I can't tell. But he's in Bothell, Washington. Fine little town. Shad Rich and DeBendigo, 50. Ben R. in Traverse City, Michigan. Ben R. And Brian Lanning in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Sandy Geisler in Watkinsville, Georgia. And finally, Macy Stolowski in Calgary, Alberta. And Joel DeRuin in Savannah, Georgia. And that will be it for our 707 list, which hopefully will be picked up a bit more for show 708, hopefully.
I emptied my P.O. box, and there were two things in there that I wanted to share. First, from Jonathan Berez. That's with the CZ at the end. Just thought I would send out some of our sample candles for you to try out.
Ooh, perfect for you.
Exactly. My wife and I have been making them as gifts for a while and decided to try selling them online into local shops. So he gave me the Get Lucky.
A Get Lucky candle.
So these are candles in mason jars, which I like a lot. I like that idea.
Until they break.
Okay. Get Lucky. This smells a bit like cologne. This one has been a big hit with the women. Woods, a masculine scent with strong oak tones, and just beachy, and pine. So it was really nice. A whole box full of these big mason jar candles. It's CarriagetownCandle.com. Anyway, the other one, I got a handwritten card, and this is from Gene and Brian McGrew. But they also sent a check to me, which please don't do that, because it really messes up the account.
You're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, it's just $50.
Stop doing that.
And it's longhand on the card. It was really nice. Just a quick note to thank. I'm reading the longhand. For all you do, my entire outlook has changed since listening to No Agenda. I spread the word wherever I can, but I get scoffed at all the time. But over time, I still see the seed of doubt in the minds of family and friends. No current events are left out in our No Agenda discussions. My adult children really are not into politics, but even when now and then I tell them how full of BS all of these idiots are. Now I do once in a while when I tell them how full of BS all these idiots are. It's all slowly seeping in. Good luck in your future. You have many loyal friends to the seen and unseen. From Jeannie and Brian. 63-year-old beach bum, mother of 4. There's nothing like that.
A huge range of listeners. That's the thing that fascinates me the most about our contingent of producers.
And what do you think that is? It must be the universal language of comedy.
Well, that's what you'd like to think.
I really like to think it's the universal language of comedy.
You're so damn funny.
Slapstick comedy. That's right, everybody.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Help us out for Sunday, will you? Baron AJ Raystott says happy birthday to his wonderful wife Peggy. Celebrates on the 28th. His daughter Katie, 8 on April 2nd. His son Nate, 5 on April 14th. Happy birthday to you. Dodge Gaskill celebrated on the 25th. And Alan Hawes, happy birthday to his brother David, who celebrated half a century yesterday. We congratulate you all here on behalf of the staff and management of the best podcast in the universe. Bang! Oh, I have to do let's do a Jobs as well and an F Cancer. Make sure everybody gets what they need.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
There we go. Everything taken care of. The president was interviewed by the Huffington Post. He's everywhere. And he loves it so much. He loves doing shows, talk shows, interviews. And of course, this is all meant, I believe, to distract from people like Ted Cruz announcing and any other politics. Because it's fun. It's much more fun on the television. That's what we call news shows. To show a clip of the president being funny, which he's very good at. Very, very good at impromptu and just good at it. And he used one of my favorite terms, which he has used before, which I believe is he really means, because these words matter, but was not picked up on in this interview by the Huffington Post about his legacy, really, when you listen to it, and it's about 40 seconds.
Wherever we see a possibility of increasing wages, creating more jobs, making sure that more people are able to access opportunity, we're going to seize it, and we're going to, wherever possible, try to reach out to Republicans and see if they can work with us. Where they're not willing to work with us, we will do it administratively, or we will convene the private sector. By hook or by crook, we're going to make sure that when I leave this office,
by hook or by crook,
that the country's more prosperous, more people have opportunity, kids have a better education, we're more competitive, climate change is being taken more seriously than it was, and we are actually trying to do something about it. Yeah, those are going to be the measures by which I look back and say whether I've been successful as president.
By hook or by crook, which means he is willing to stoop to illegal activity.
Yes, crook is a very definitive word. If you call somebody a crook,
you can get sued for libel.
You can get sued for libel because it assumes that they're criminal. So he is saying that he's going to do criminal activities. Exactly what he said. Oh, I'm just joking.
So the exact definition: by any means necessary, by hook or by crook, suggesting that one need not be concerned with morality or other considerations when accomplishing some goal, which he said would be he wants to determine if he was successful as president. So his legacy will be cemented by hook or by crook. And where did this come from?
But by hook or by crook, the term?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a navigator.
Oh, well, here it is.
Seafaring thing.
This is interesting. No. The origin of the phrase is obscure. I'm reading from the Book of Knowledge, with multiple different explanations and no evidence to support any particular one over the others. For example, a commonly repeated suggestion is that it comes from Hook Head in Wexford, Ireland, and the nearby village of Crook in Waterford, Ireland. Another is that it comes from the customs regulating which firewood local people could take from common land. They were allowed to take any branches they could reach with a bill hook or a shepherd's hook. The word crook has a connotation of crookedness, perversity, and wickedness, while hook might suggest subtlety, deceit, cunning, chicanery, or trickery. Yeah.
I'm liking the one for the Irish towns. How are you going to get there? By hook
or by crook? That's good.
I think I'm going to go by hook. Because there's a good pub in Hook. Crook, they closed the place down.
That's pretty funny. All right. There was Representative Carolyn Maloney. She is a congresswoman from New York, Brooklyn, I believe. And this is one of these moments when you have these representatives and they have a witness and they're talking about Doesn't even matter. They grandstand and pontificate and need to get a message out to look good for a soundbite on TV if they're lucky, but always to state their intent towards the lobbyists and their loyalty towards the party. And wow, Carolyn Maloney, she did it.
Mr. Ranking Member, may I reclaim my time?
Of course.
I just want to end by saying that President Obama saved the auto industry. He saved the auto industry, and he saved the internet. And I believe very strongly that Republicans are on the wrong side of this issue for the economy and for the American people.
This is lovely.
Is this somebody she's talking about, Mr. Auto Industry? Auto, O-T-T-O
Yes, auto.
Industry?
But yes, auto, Mr. Auto Industry. But I love how she says he saved the internet.
He saved the internet. Was it going to collapse? What happened? I don't know. I missed this news
Packet
story.
equality for the net neutrality. This is why he saved the internet.
Nothing's changed.
No, but he saved the internet. You understand this?
What is wrong with this? I've seen her before. This is that blonde dummy.
Yeah, she's
that
a dummy.
Represents part of. I think she's part of Manhattan, and then she's got it's a funny district that's gerrymandered just for her, so she can stay there forever.
I think what we're going just to move into this just for a second on the FCC vote, and of course we have lawsuits and everything, but what we always discussed as a possibility of what this was really about, I think we'll see come into play in the next weeks and months. That this really is going to behoove and help the approval of the Comcast Time Warner Cable merger. And here's why I think this will happen. The minute this merger takes place, that's when they can really rewrite all these rules, because they're so big. In order for this to get past any anti-competitive ruling or regulations, they're going to have to rewrite stuff. And I think that is what is intended is, we're going to now we'll legally reclassify Title II and new rules that go along with that. Because, of course, we want to have this merger happen. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, except for the
public.
Useless eaters. Yeah.
Useless eaters, they lose.
So, I know the White House also came out with some new, expanding broadband deployment and adoption by addressing regulatory barriers and encouraging investment and training as a presidential memorandum. And they have a fact
Sounds like free money.
Yes, and a fact sheet. Next steps in delivering fast, affordable broadband. And, of course, we're going to have another steering committee that everybody's on. I think as the Time Warner Comcast merger comes closer, you're going to see how these things dovetail perfectly together and what it really was all about. For them, the sideline being, of course, the actual regulation of the content and devices and the actual network traffic that you're allowed to utilize. And I got a note from one of our producers, Anonymous, Adam John, I'm an IT director for Public School District. I thought you'd find this interesting. And he sent me a screenshot, which isn't relevant for the story. A survey done for the FCC during the E-rate application process. E-rate is a federal program that gives schools money for IT. As you can see, unless a school district provides it, listen to this. This is how stupid our government is. Unless a school district provides at least 1 gigabit per second of bandwidth per 1,000 students, the FCC is going to classify it as having inadequate internet access, which, of course, is insane because that's not how it works. It's not like you're born and you need a gigabit per day or something. No.
Give me that number again.
There's a couple other numbers. Let me read the whole thing. Unless a school district provides at least 1 gigabit per second of bandwidth per 1,000 students, the FCC is going to classify it as having inadequate internet access. At our district, we provide an iPad or Chromebook to every one of our 3,000 students, yet our daily bandwidth usage peaks at 500 to 600 megabits per second. Makes sense. According to the FCC, we need to purchase another 2 gigabits per second of bandwidth, which is very expensive, especially if you're not using it for years, to meet their arbitrary benchmarks. Otherwise, we'll be classified as having inadequate internet access.
Can't they? They want 1 gigabit per. Okay, so that's essentially 100 megabits per second per student, or no, 10, right?
It's
10?
it's a gigabit. It's 1,000. Wait,
no, they said 1 gigabit per 1,000 students. So you divide the way they're doing it. I know what they're trying to do. It doesn't make any sense because you're right. It's not the way it works.
So 1 gigabit is 125 megabytes.
Well,
per
you
second.
just round it out.
Yeah.
To the giga. Let's see what that looks like.
But this is not how network works.
No, it doesn't how networks work. So they're trying to do 1 megabit per second per student. Now, if you
I think it's 10. I think it's 10.
No, it is 1. Because you have 1,000 students, if you have one megabit per second, and 1,000 of that would be a gigabyte or gigabit. So it's 1 megabit per second per student, supposedly.
I'll tell you one thing. You and I are not the guys to figure this one out.
Well, no, we can figure this out. It's just simple math.
It's It's a little over 1 megabit per second per student if they were all surfing at the same time.
They're all slamming it.
Yeah, all downloading Netflix.
Right, all the time. So this is dumb.
Yeah, but this also determines the money that these schools get.
If they're spending it on stupid bandwidth they don't need.
I don't know.
Bandwidth.
Write that down, bandwidth. I like it.
Bandwidth.
That's good. Bandwidth, everybody.
So you have, that's interesting. They would come up with this arbitrary number just to ding the schools.
Well, this is written by people who really don't understand how it works. And let's just stay with schools for a moment. This is the reporting. Get ready for glitch reporting. This was now I know exactly what happened. An entire school system in Philly. The reporters got hacked and were held ransom. Now, of course, you know what this is. This is the ransomware stuff that someone got on their computer.
By the way, let's stop right now with the ransomware thing, and let me ask a question. Where's the FBI? You got all these cyber guys trying to crack it, get into North Korea, and they're doing all this stuff. And this bullshit has been going on for, 2 years now?
Longer, I think. Let me see. FBI.
How hard can it be? You have to pay these guys off.
Yeah,
Can't you track the money?
With Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Yeah, they always ask for Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, they're going to. Yeah, if that ever happened to me.
Listen to the clip.
Well, yes, the FBI.
Huh?
If it ever happened to me, I just reinstall the operating system and say, screw you, I'm not going to get any Bitcoin.
I'm with you. There's nothing really of any importance. You can have the whole damn thing. But anything that's important, I carry with me. 1 copy. Don't you have a USB stick you carry around?
I do, as a matter of fact.
I always have an encrypted USB stick with all my stuff that I want, that I need, that I'll need anywhere. That's all you really need. Here we go.
Well, Jess, the FBI, New Jersey State Police, county, and local police all looking into this most unusual cyber attack. It targeted the computers of the Swedesboro Woolwich School District here. The hackers not stealing identities, but instead paralyzing the system and demanding a ransom payment to get it working again.
So apparently the whole...
Where's the FBI?
Well, they're there. He said right in the report, FBI, they're working on it. They're working on it.
We can't do anything with...
This is the IT director.
...any part of our network, under this kind of a cyber attack.
Really? Suddenly, Monday morning, teachers and students at 4 elementary schools in the Swedesboro Woolwich district found hackers using something called ransomware had kidnapped their computer system.
A person or persons at this point unknown hacked our system remotely.
The hackers messaged school officials they'd hold the computer network hostage. And
I would give $10 to the first person that used the term script kiddies on TV. We have to find new words than hackers, people.
Unusable until a ransom was paid.
The ransom that was demanded is 500 Bitcoin, which the police let us know this morning is equivalent to about $128,000.
I don't have any idea how something like this happens.
And why they would attack a school district, I have no idea.
Parents like Julie Smith found without computers, their kids couldn't buy lunch. Teachers couldn't take attendance.
Here we go. More unintended consequences of technology.
It's all internet. So to not have that capability is a little bit difficult. We can't check grades. We can't check, any of those things, test scores, any of those things.
Suddenly, education went back to the 80s with pen and paper replacing smartboards.
School was in session, much as it might have been 20 or 30 years ago before the advent of technology.
Yeah, kids might actually learn something in the next day or two.
Instead of checking Facebook all day.
This is the beginning.
I think if these guys are going to attack anything, schools are great.
I just love the whole...
If you can't buy lunch without the computer network working, there's something wrong with you with that school.
Again... Well, a lot of these lunch-rooms now, they have fingerprint scanners. We've discussed these.
Why?
Because money, technology, just to have it. Why is Silicon Valley even inventing all this crap? Who needs these things? Seriously, who needs this stuff?
So you go into the lunchroom and you put your forefinger, not four fingers, but forefinger, on a little thing, and they say, "Oh, okay, John, that's you."
Yeah.
You can't see my face?
Nope. We did a couple stories on this a while back.
I know. It just galls me. This is the most galling thing going on right now. And everybody's all in on it. Oh, it's great. Let's spend more money on crap.
Tech.
Junk.
Tech.
Let's upgrade. Let's make the Common Core really a serious thing so we can buy more computers so kids can take the test. Oh, it's a Microsoft Surface. Great idea.
Where 2 plus 3 is approximately 4 in the Common Core. Session Woo.
There you go. I like that a lot. I think it's all been prophesized, people. It's all going to end. Yeah,
it's not going to end well.
No, it will not end well. I'm going to start making predictions on what piece of society is going to fall apart next based upon some bogus belief that technology is really the answer.
Well, technology is not the answer.
No.
It's already over. It's too much.
Well, people do think it's the answer. The president just announced another huge STEM.
And it's a money sink. Yeah. This technology has become a complete jip.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And I'm a guy who covers technology. That's my job. And I'm not happy. I'm not a happy camper.
The stuff that I like is...
And I can't find out anybody. They change technology like left and right. Now they're up to DisplayPort 3. And nobody knows anything about it. And by the way, I did write. This is what I didn't say. I wrote in to the experts. Oh, the display. They never answered back.
The experts?
Yeah, the experts at displayport.org. I don't see any email answer to my question.
Did you hear that there was a bomb threat in Petaluma?
There's always a bomb threat in Petaluma. There's a lot of meth heads up there.
At the Twit Brick House.
Oh, there was?
Yeah.
I never heard this.
Yeah, March 23rd. This is the police. Petaluma Police Dispatch received a phone call from a male who claimed he had placed 8 pipe bombs at 140 Keller Street. When police dispatch asked why they picked that address, the male caller said because it was the Twit Brick House and they're all going to die.
What?
The caller was asked why he was upset with Twit, and the caller stated he was not just upset with them, but his whole life. The caller claimed he was going to take them all out, and the bombs he had placed in the building would go off in 3 hours. The caller then made threats to go to the business and shoot all of the occupants of the building before the bombs went off. The caller hung up after this statement. Petaluma police responded to the business and contacted the management of Twit.
That'd have been the time to watch the live feed.
Which is a technology podcast company. Oh, Leo will hate that. Providing the latest perspective and trends in digital technology. Phones. The management of the company was advised of the call and the need for police to perform a visual inspection of the inside of the building to attempt and locate any explosive devices. Company employees were not ordered to evacuate the building. However, they were advised for the safety of their employees, it might be best for them to leave. Most employees left until the business could be cleared by police. Well, that's not very nice.
No.
funny. Funny, but it's not really nice.
I've got material. I won't use it.
Meanwhile, the Dutch Transport Ministry and inspectors have raided the Uber offices.
Oh, in Holland?
In Holland, yeah. Which is funny because I think it's one guy. I've talked to none of the Uber.
Probably right.
Spokeswoman for the Transport Inspectorate said there were signs the company continued to offer Uber Pop, and the agency was taking evidence from company computers to determine the scope of Uber's non-compliance with the ruling. This is the low end where you're driving in some guy's Prius. Which I'm telling you, this is going to end. If I were running this company, I'd be like, why deal with these people? They complain. You know, I'm sure that the customers complain about some of these low end, citizens shuttling citizens around. Just take the taxis, just take the old black cabs. Everything's fantastic. It's a great app for that. You will own transportation. Get rid of this stupid ride sharing. It's not going to work. As a commercial business, it's not going to work. But I was talking to one of the Uber drivers the other day here in Austin. You hear the guy, oh, where are you from? I'm from Jordan. I love doing this. Love talking to these guys about their home countries because, I don't think many of their customers actually understand anything that's going on. And it's such culture in the Middle East to be talking about politics and geopolitical things and, living in the sand and getting droned. And I said, oh, man, wow, that whole Burning Man Jordan pilot, that was pretty bogus. And he went, this goes, I spoke to sister of the Jordanian pilot. It was a United Arab Emirates fighter jet with a female pilot who shot down the Jordanian pilot, according to my Uber sources.
Huh.
And the reason because it was a female pilot is why I'm going to give it some credence. Because, that's a little more information than just saying UAE. But he did not agree with my theory that Jordan was supposed to take out Assad. He wasn't too sure about that. But he totally bought into IS's bull crap. It was beautiful.
I had the same experience with a guy, I forgot where this was, but another Middle Eastern guy, and I brought up some ISIS stuff, and he showed me, he ended up making me watch all these videos he had collected. Oh, yeah, look at this. And so, okay. So I'm watching a lot of videos in the back seat.
If there's any...
actually, the front seat. I usually do not sit in the back seat. I don't like sitting in the back seat. I think it's pretentious. What's the point? I'd rather sit in the front seat where I could actually see where we're going, look around. Maybe I've learned something on the way. I don't like sitting in the back seat of these cars. Well, even if it's a car, so a limo even. I would sit in the front if I can.
Oh, limos were the worst. I hated the stretch limos. Because
they're terrible. You're back there, you're like a caged animal.
Worse, the minute the guy brakes, you're always flying
around, and he has to open the door for you. You look like some sort of a
douche.
Douche. That's it. You look like a douche.
A douche.
Who's that douche? That's what people say when they see you getting out.
A douche.
Who's that douche?
Douche. Angelina Jolie previously did this big promotion for the BRCA gene. This is the breast cancer gene with the...
Yes,
which is patented.
It's all over the news.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. It's patented.
All over the news.
Only one company can tell you if you have this and make money off of it, which is you're then pre-cancerous for breast cancer. Of course, the pre is the funny thing because I'm also pre-cancerous. I'm pre-dead. We're pre-funny. We're all
pre-dead.
Pre all kinds of stuff. Now, I don't want to say that that this is necessarily bad. I think what the Affordable Care Act did was allow for insurance companies, or not allow, but force insurance companies to cover reconstructive surgery after a preventative mastectomy. And if you look at Angelina Jolie, man, good job. Very good job. She had that done first. And now she had her ovaries removed.
In 2013, Jolie had a preventative double mastectomy after testing positive for a mutation of BRCA, the breast cancer gene. Cancer took her grandmother, aunt, and mother. After the test, Jolie went to see her mother's surgeon. She teared up when she saw me. You look just like her. I broke down. But we smiled at each other and agreed we were there to deal with any problem, so let's get on with it.
This is a whole op-ed she did in the New York Times.
An ultrasound and scan showed no full-blown cancer, but there was still a chance it was in an early stage. With her family and genetic history, Jolie
What
chose
does that
to
mean?
It means she has no cancer. But it's this preventative thing, and I believe this is a trend that she is pushing, willingly or not, as she seems like a perfect MK Ultra candidate to me.
It's a self-mutilation.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. It's like you can cut off your leg if you think you're going to get diabetes. Oh, might as well cut it off now. There's a lot of things you could do, but it kind of goes against all principles of medicine. Have we given up on everything now? There's never going to be a cure for cancer. Just rip out the bits. Oh, I can get brain cancer. Oh, might as well take out a piece. You know what? I'm a candidate for prostate cancer. You know what? Take it out. Who needs it? That's where this is leading, and it's disturbing. It's also a part of the assisted suicide. I don't know. I see it from a meta level, and I see just people being programmed to do things that are unnatural and I don't think very good.
We got a long letter from a doctor, like a really long letter that was kind of agreeing with us on all levels about this being kind of the dark ages of medicine, and some of these trends are just so negative.
Do you have the letter by any chance?
I can't find it.
Okay. Yeah, it's totally negative. I mean, while everyone's screaming about vaccines, etc. Oh, by the way, on TV2, I think it's tonight, in TV2 in Denmark, they have an hour-long documentary on the adverse effects of Gardasil, the HPV vaccine.
Oh, good. Somebody's finally done that.
Yeah. Several Danish girls became seriously ill shortly after they received the HPV vaccine. Many of them are blaming the vaccine. And let's see, was there anything else about this particular? Well, someone will watch it, and I'm sure we have. I know we have Danish listeners because they're the happiest people on earth.
I heard that. I heard they're really happy. I think it's the high taxes.
Fact. Makes them real happy.
They love it. That way they know they're part of a bigger community when they pay those taxes, those high taxes.
And the Connecticut home of Adam Lanza and his mother, Nancy Lanza, has officially been demolished.
Oh, good. It's about time.
After they had
demolished the school, they might as well demolish where it began.
And they completely they incinerated all the everything inside the home, all the evidence, rugs, lighting fixtures. We talked about this. A bank acquired the home and then said, "Oh, well, we're just going to destroy it." That sounds like something banks do. Just burning money.
This is the screwiest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another screwy thing. I got the clip. Lethal injection story.
Oh, yes. This was someone sent this to me from the Netherlands. It was in the newspaper there.
So, Andrew Novak, we know there are 32 states where the death penalty is legal. We know that...
I'm sorry, you say something?
Yeah, 32, not 33. So the story's real.
It's real. It's real.
So, Andrew Novak, we know there are 32 states where the death penalty is legal. We know that Utah would become the only state, along with Oklahoma, where the backup method would be a firing squad. 2 other states, New Hampshire, Washington State, have hanging as a backup. And then there are 5 more states that use the electric chair as the backup, in addition to Oklahoma, where I guess it's either or. Why is there so much concern about these lethal injections?
Sure.
You don't answer a question like that with the word sure.
That's a very Silicon Valley thing to do, by the way.
Oh, is that where you track it to? Because every time I see it, and this guy was the worst, and his answer to the long question was sure.
Yeah.
I've been hearing this. I bitch about this every time it comes along. But this one was so outrageous. It wasn't like the sure, blah, 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 blah. It was sure. And there was a long pause, and the next word was I wasn't going to go any further with it. Sure.
Yeah, the way it works, it's usually when it's based on a question that the person is supposed to have complete knowledge of, and the person knows that the interviewer doesn't know shit. And then it's just, sure, so let me tell you about how our networking fits together. it's kind of like I'm such an authority. I'm just going to say, sure, I'll tell you that, little unknowledgeable press person. You
think it's an insult?
Yes,
it's a subtle.
It's a subtle talking
insult.
A subtle.
I want to tell everyone out there who does any of this, if you're in the news business at all, and somebody says "sure" to you, stop them in their track and say,
Amen.
"Look, I'm interviewing you not to be insulting. Why are you insulting me with this sure nonsense? Sure,
right? But okay. Right.
Just that
would be if it was true news and not PR, because this is all PR. Now. So this was a big...
what? Firing squads?
No, I believe so there's two parts to it. These drugs, the company that made the drug stopped making the drug. That's what's been going on. It's been in short supply everywhere. But now the fun thing is to... And it comes down to PR, bad PR for Republicans in states where they are now going to put people in front of the firing squad, which is not necessarily the truth.
So they do so few of these executions, they just keep the guy in jail while they stall.
Right. But it makes for a good headline. And it was in the headlines. It was sent to me by a friend this morning. She made a snapshot scan of this. Well, America going back to the firing squad. It's
better than dipping people in boiling oil.
Well, again, I will say, and I will support any bill by any Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Tea Party, Independent, Rent Too High Party. If you come up with a proposal that makes capital punishment, i.e. Death as penalty, mandatory shown on television, I'll even take C-SPAN. This is what will change.
Bonanza. This is our way out.
Yeah, are we? You and me when we do the TV show? You mean?
Yeah. Barry Dvorak presents.
It makes so much sense. We put everything on television.
Well, they used to.
Everything.
These things used to be public executions. They had a lot of them were like disgusting, but there'd be a big crowd. 100,000 people would watch them hangings.
And I think we should not hide this. This is really important. There's nothing wrong.
If you don't like it, it makes them change the laws. It's the only way. All these liberals, this is horrible. We're killing people, which they don't mind. Well, it's a philosophical thing, but whatever the case is, they're bitching and moaning. They want to put a stop to it. Put it on television.
Yeah, and you know what? You know why they won't do it? Because it would be a huge hit. Everybody would want. We could make bank. We could have firing squad UK, firing squad down under.
Firing Squad UK.
Electric Chair Estonia. And we'll reverse it like with The Voice where the chairs turn around. So the chairs turn around, but then one of them is wired. And you get electrocuted.
Who's going to be who gets the jolt this week?
Who gets fried tonight?
They should do a little interview with each one of the people sitting in the chairs. What do you think? What are you thinking right now, Bill? I'm sorry I did it. I didn't mean to kill those people.
Well, we've been working on been working on our TV shows for a while.
Win, lose, or drone.
That's right, everybody. It's time once again to play Win, Lose, or Drone. Will there be civilian casualties? Will there be any dead children? Find out next on the episode of Win, Lose, or Drone.
Win, lose, or drone.
But another great format. Squandered.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue. We have a lot of these good ideas that just never come to fruition. We don't have anybody step up, some big, real producers, big money. I'm talking about people who drop $1 million.
Woo! A whole million.
Well, make it 10. I think you could do a pilot for $1 million.
We can do a pilot. Well, yeah, it depends. I got one. Let me see. I have a couple things left. I don't know if you have anything you want to roll out before we shut it down for the day. Hello.
I have a bitch clip if you want to play it.
Bitch clip? I'll take a bitch clip.
The lottery money.
Okay, bitch clip.
They always talk. We want to know about the lottery. Millions and millions and millions of dollars a year is going to the government from the lottery. Why doesn't anybody ever say what they're investing and what they're doing with that money instead of helping us people that need the help and where you can't retire at 65 no more, and the kids that are working now have nothing to look forward to until they can retire. And where is all that extra money going to? The taxes that they're paying from 65 to 72 or whenever they can retire.
Okay, two different issues here. So, Jim McIntyre, if you could just take up the lottery issue.
Right.
How does that work?
Well, in Washington State, I can't speak to Georgia, but I can say that in Washington State, the lottery produces about $120 million a year and has for several years. So it's actually not a growing revenue source. It's a pretty small part of our budget, but all of those funds are actually dedicated to education expenditures. So in Washington, we're pretty clear about how we spend the lottery money.
Actually, all the states do the same scam. And it happened. I remember when it happened here in California. They instituted the lottery, which we're always against because it's public gaming. It's a scam, and they're not only that, but half the money goes to the middlemen. So the guy, so it
and the producers and the TV shows and
and all the bull crap in between. They get the state gets about half of the money, and they it started off as the education of California was so in desperate need of money, so that's why we're going to do the lottery. The education people are going to get it, and so the education people get the money. The state gets their whatever the half is, 120 million is probably the typical everywhere. They get it and it goes in the education. So I asked somebody once, I forgot which government official, and I said, because they're always bitching. The University of California keeps raising tuition and everybody's out of money. And so I said, what happened? We were going along at a certain pace, and now this lottery money was supposed to do something for the education. I said, why is it worse than before? It's worse in California than before this lottery came along. It's horrible. And I was told that, no, it all goes to education, but the old education budget went to the general fund. They just pulled the plug on the original amount of money that was going to education, and they just started using whatever the lottery could come up with. So there's less money.
In the Netherlands,
it's an outrageous scam.
In the Netherlands, they have perfected this scam to a T. That's called the National Postcode Lottery. Postal code being zip code. And the way it works is zip codes win. And these are usually down to a street level, maybe 2 streets. And so what happens is people buy, and it's big money, of course. People buy a national lottery ticket, but all of their neighbors buy too, because, of course, invariably on the show, you see a whole bunch of people happy they won millions, and there's that one sucker who didn't buy a lottery ticket, and he's the big loser.
That's the way to do it. That's a great idea.
It's a super scam.
Shame the losers.
Yeah. And so because it's by area, by zip code, everybody in that zip code, we got to buy in. What if my neighbors become a millionaire and I'm the fucking loser? I got to get a ticket. It's perfection.
Do they go interview the losers?
Of course. Hello, loser. But also,
how do you feel now that you didn't buy a lottery ticket?
Yeah, but also,
all your friends are now millionaires.
You can also do a quarter ticket or a half ticket or a full ticket. Don't ask me exactly how it works. And so you'll see and they have the envelopes. They're all sitting in a circle like a Dutch birthday party, and they pull it out, and it's like 5 million of these people are wetting themselves. And then there's the guy who put in like $1, €1, and didn't get the full on lottery ticket. 30,000. Yeah. There's a lot of
shameful.
It is shameful.
They shouldn't have lotteries in any United States. They shouldn't be in, except Nevada, which has got your gambling, legalized gambling. Well, they do every place else too now, thanks to the Indians getting some piece of the action. But the state government should not be running these things.
No. Here's what I'm working on for Sunday. You mentioned it earlier, but I do want to talk about the China crisis. There's a lot of financial firms, trusts, which are like 50 or 60 just blowing up.
Oh yeah,
within a month. So and that's more your wheelhouse, certainly with Horowitz. Did you talk about it all?
A little bit, but mostly about the numbers coming in skewed.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear that. Let's do that Sunday. I also have a little Hollywood PR. Of course, we have the final season of Mad Men coming up now. April 5. So
yeah, everyone's lost interest, by the way.
Well, they're trying to crank it up. They've gone to extreme measures. Then here it is. We have John Hamm, who is he's the dude,
the lead,
the main character. Has announced he recently completed treatment for alcohol addiction. Yeah. So I'm all good now, ready for the new season. This is always so cool. That must be tough, man. When the studio comes to you and says, "Hey, John Hamm, listen, we don't have a lot of interest for the new season. As you know, it's a very expensive show, and well, I'll tell you what, we just need a little PR. And I'm sorry, this is the best we could come up with. I'm sure.
Unless you can come up with something better.
Something better. Yeah. Something better.
Well, yeah, maybe I could be drug addicted. No. We don't want that. We want something that's a tie-in to the show. Do you understand this? Tie-in to the show. Alcohol. They drink a lot on the show. It's like a drinking fest on the show. You wouldn't have to. You carry it over to your real life. And
do you understand? Yes.
You get it?
And then I have kind of end of show things that we could play.
Before you play anything, I really want to hear the clip of the week clip.
No, because I already played it, and I didn't get even a clip of it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have just given it to you for that one earlier.
You were right. But you were right. You called me out, and I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have prefaced it.
I've done it, made the same stupid mistake, and it turns out that the clip of the week that you think's clip of the week is a dud.
Well, it was not a dud. You liked it, but I just didn't get a clip of anything.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Abby Martin.
Oh, God, that poor woman. I feel sorry for her now.
Let us review quickly, and then I want to hear why you feel sorry. Abby Martin wound up on RT, Russia Today, hosting a program called Breaking the Set, which we have criticized heavily for mainly her performance as a host.
Right, and barely able to stand on heels was another issue.
And she says she left, but we kind of know she was fired. And in this clip, it becomes apparent why she can't really be on any channel that has an alternative message to the Talking Stream main points. She's from what's she from? Oakland, I think. No,
yep.
She's from Oakland.
No, she's from Oakland.
Yeah, and actually in this clip, and she was at in Berlin at ZD Day for the Zeitgeist movement.
Oh, God.
Which is it's one of these things like, well, we'll pay for a ticket and come on over, and you can stay, you can share a room with Richard Stallman.
In the Pennsylvania.
Can you imagine Abby Martin and Richard Stallman bunking?
Oh my God! Yes, I can't imagine that.
Now, I'll say they have the shot of her doing a keynote or whatever.
Stallman stayed with Jolie Odell and her husband.
He prefers not to stay in a hotel. I know he does.
Yeah.
They have a shot which is kind of 3/4 of her, so more profile. She looks gorgeous, John.
And she is extremely photogenic.
I have never liked her look, and I don't know. But wow, stunningly beautiful. Everything. Her hair is a little different. Really nice.
She's incredibly pretty.
And for people asking why we say this, we're television producers. We evaluate this stuff. This is about
the only reason. We're not doing it because we're expecting to get a date by being complimentary.
Hey, I would go out with her if she asked.
Yeah, she'd probably be berating you the whole time. But anyway, go on with the story.
Well, I wondered if you wanted to hear a little bit of her speech.
Yeah.
It's two clips. You can stop them anytime you want. It's a full 40 minutes, the whole thing. You're
not going to play that.
No, I just had to clip a couple minutes.
I've heard her on some of these shows. She cusses like a truck driver.
Yeah, but a lot of F-bombs. She F-bombs a lot.
It's pointless. But
the reason is, and I've already, of course, analyzed this, she is trying to portray a message mainly of how the mainstream media, television, does not address the real issues that we should be looking at, which, of course, in her mind is climate change and all these things that, Russia Today will have no business. Global warming, precisely. But she does this by trying to inflect and use fuck. She uses that word a lot just to try and make her words have some impact, which it's uncomfortable when she says it.
Thank you.
Thank you. She also has that dead monotone, which is...
She's a very poor speaker.
We could fix that. We could teach her.
That's too late.
She'd what?
It's just too late, but go play.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One human family living on one organism.
One human family living on one human organism.
What does that mean?
I don't know. That's how she started off. Nice.
Yet man is embroiled in a war against himself.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, this blatant truth hasn't yet been realized by the vast majority of humans living on Earth.
See, again.
What is she, a philosopher?
Well, this is her script. And she cannot deliver a script if she's trying to be, like a philosopher, but it doesn't come out right. There's no acting in it.
She's not that bright.
The war against ISIS, Russia, and now laughably Venezuela.
Venezuela?
Yeah, she thinks there's a war against Venezuela.
Dominating headlines in the latest front of the information war, but a far more deadly war is being waged against the organism that we all share. We face the most severe environmental crises in the history of this planet.
Listen to her numbers and facts. So, just to whatever is coming next, it's the worst environmental threat since the beginning of the Earth.
Deforestation is at a rate of 36 football fields per minute.
Per minute. I could fix this girl. I'm telling you, we could do it.
Play it. We're going to just pass on fixing her.
I want to fix her. She could be a great asset. Okay.
We face the most severe environmental crises in the history of this planet. Deforestation is at a rate of 36 football fields per minute. Floating trash islands the size of Texas across the Pacific. And
there's bunches of them.
Across the Pacific. Floating islands of plastic the size of Texas.
And half the world's species has been wiped out in the last 40 years.
Really? Half the world's species has been wiped out in the last 40 years?
She thinks.
Because of
all right, you can stop.
No, a little more.
Oh, you told me I could stop you.
Okay, can I play the second one then?
Yeah, you can play the second one because I can't take her.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what I think is going on. She is massively depressed, but go on.
Yeah. I want you to listen to this because this now talks about her original blog, Media Roots. Which
that catapulted her into the
realm,
the limelight of RT.
Yeah. And I just want you to bear with it. It's only 2 minutes. The kooky talk is worth listening to.
Around that same time, I started a little website called Media Roots. It started as just a hub for censored information. It grew into a multimedia citizen journalism project, which eventually brought me to Russia Today and then Breaking the Set.
Now, if you actually look at MediaRoots.org, it's just a blog about her.
It's a
blog about her with videos of her. Okay.
And it was a dream job to attack power on an international platform.
John, this weekend, you and I, we're going to attack media on an international platform together.
Okay.
Promise.
But I decided I want to be meeting the people behind the stories and telling them myself independent from any state or corporate entity. I don't just want to react to mainstream media's circle jerk of fuckery.
Jerk of fuckery. This is where I told you the kooky was coming. I don't just want to react to the mainstream media's circle jerk of fuckery.
I don't just want to react to mainstream media's circle jerk of fuckery.
Oh, maybe it just says something else, but it sounds like it.
These issues...
What is it? What does it sound? Buggery? Buggery? It's even better.
Mainstream media's circle jerk of fuckery.
No, it's with an F. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
These issues deserve in-depth analysis and substantive discussion.
She needs to take some acting lessons.
Yes, we can fix her.
Circle jerk of fuckery.
No, you can't fix her.
No, listen to this.
These issues deserve in-depth analysis and substantive discussion, which is everything that we've seen here today. Hence the problem with the 24-hour news cycle, right? It incessantly reacts to what these corporate elite assholes create for us. That's their reality. And just to emphasize this point, Bush Lackey, I don't know if any of you know who Karl Rove is, brazenly told the New York Times back in 2004, a reporter named Ron Susskind, he said this: "We're an empire now, and when we act, we create our own reality. And while you're studying that too, judiciously as you will, we'll act again, creating other new realities, which you can study too. And that's just how things will sort out. We're history's actors, and you, all of you, will just be left to study what we do. Unfortunately, he's right. Reality is dictated by an out-of-touch, warmongering elite that doesn't apply to the reality that 99.9% of us live every day.
She took 99% and 1% up to 0.1%. Yeah.
And it's only able to sustain on fear and war.
Well, part of it is true.
There's nothing the establishment fears more than a populace not living in fear.
No, that's not true. They just want the populace uneducated. The fear thing is just to make it that way.
People are disillusioned, of course. They've been called crazy. They've been called conspiracy theorists for wanting more than two parties in America, for questioning ludicrous, paradoxical foreign policy.
Ludicrous, paradoxical foreign policy.
They also want sustainable energy. 3/4 of Americans want to transfer to wind. 71% want to transfer to wind power. Solar and wind, according to Gallup in 2013. I'm not sitting up here saying I have all the answers, and I don't think anyone out here claims to. But a technological, resource-based economy is the most thought-provoking and groundbreaking solution I've seen to the crisis.
Who's she talking to?
Well, she's winding it up. It's a crescendo, last 10 minutes. And then
hope that she finishes soon.
Yeah,
sitting up here saying I have all the answers, and I don't think anyone out here claims to. But a technological, resource-based economy is the most thought-provoking and groundbreaking solution I've seen to the crisis of civilization that we face. And there's an extensive roadmap on how to get there. We don't have to wait for anyone but ourselves to start implementing the ideals either.
She should run for office, and then maybe she could be on the $20 bill.
I think that's enough.
Yeah, I'm done. But it's worth watching.
So I was looking at. I had followed her for a while.
I know you did.
And she has. And by the way, her new picture on her Twitter feed shows a woman that again is photogenic, and it looks totally different than you've ever seen her before.
What's her Twitter handle?
Abby Martin.
Abby Martin.
ABBYMARTIN, all one word. Mm-hmm. And then she sent something out, and I just stopped following her because she's not worth following anymore. She is extreme. I got the feeling that this loss of her job at Russia Today really seriously hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
And she was, and if you've seen those old videos of her, she's an artist. She does a lot of.
Yeah. I think that her art is pretty good, actually.
Her art tends to be, it's a little busy. It tends to be a little amphetamine oriented, very busy. But she has lots of.
I'm sorry, amphetamine? Are you saying that she's a speed junk?
Well, I'm saying that I've known artists on speed, and this art looks like that.
Okay.
And but it's always was up tempo, with sunshine, and the one thing she was doing on the YouTube was painting these. It's all very positive. And then she tweets out I love this guy, I love this artist, and I went to check this guy's stuff out. So depressing. The worst kind of like people hanging themselves, black and white, a guy, drowning, a woman choking a man to death, all these kinds of things. And I'm thinking this woman has issues. I think she is extremely damaged from this whole RT experience. And I don't want to have anything to do with following her, or fixing her, or anything else. I think she's just wrecked. And if you look at her Twitter feed, is all, besides these artists that are horrible, it's all clips from her old show. She can't get out of that.
Yeah,
it's another clip after another. She's terrible. She's in bad shape. She needs to go see a shrink. That woman.
I will put out there, Abby Martin, I can fix you. So to such a degree that you can get another job on some news television channel, then you'll be okay. And you'll get to slip in your little things, but you can't do it this way, girl. This is not how it's going to work. And you got to learn a little acting. I think she would be, she's free and available, floating out there to help us combat the New World Order.
And she probably will if she doesn't. I just get the sense she's going to kill herself or something.
Oh. By the way, how's Brian Williams doing?
I don't know. Nobody says.
He's not, he hasn't killed himself yet?
No, he hasn't. I think
less than 10 minutes to go.
I think there's less than 2 minutes to go. We're done.
You got it. Okay, China. We'll do that. I have more Ukrainian stuff. Russia. Truckers. Yeah, all kinds of good stuff. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. And one of our producers runs the strategy and planning department of a major oil company. and has feedback on the real numbers in oil and drilling and fracking, etc., which has been sent to me under agreement of anonymity.
Oh, well, I'll be interested in
that. You'll like it. Yeah, that'll be Sunday. And, of course, I'll be coming to you from the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas, on Sunday. Thanks, chat room, for hanging out there. Thank you very much for making us a part of your healthy news diet. Coming to you from the Crackpot Condo in downtown Austin. In the morning, everybody, my name is Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, plain and simple, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back Sunday right here on No Agenda.
But resist we much. We must and we will much about that be committed.
Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka.
It's real. It's real. It's real.
Allahu Akbar.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Adios, mofo.
Amen. Fist bump.